Tonight on the Black Channel, we ask a basic fundamental question. Who built this country? The Black Channel is live. Unapologetic, unadulterated, and absolutely uncompromising. Greetings, brothers and sisters from around the world, and welcome back to the home, the haven, the stronghold, and the everlasting superfortress of intelligent black thought. We are the Black Media, and this is the Black Channel, and I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the voice of Black America, the Black Authority, broadcasting to you live from the only historically black college university of higher education and learning in the cosmos. You are, of course, welcome to join us. And join us you shall, because on tonight's program here, I've had a little time to think about this, and I really want to ask a basic fundamental question here. Who built this country? And I think that that's a pivotal thing to ask. I really do think it is, because the issue is deliberately being muddied and muddled, and there are folks who are making their move. Now, as you all know, 30 years ago, Dr. Claude Anderson warned and admonished us that black people, being the number 2 population in America, were not getting anything, and that the nation was moving as quickly as it could to have white Latinos supplant us and immigrants. And he said, if you weren't getting anything when you were number 2, what do you think you're going to get when you're number 3 or number 4? Now, it's actually a very good point to make. If that's what you were getting at number 2, what are you going to get at number 3 and number 4? Well, I went even further than that. Not only did I want to project about where we'd be at number 3 or number 4, I also want to project who it was that they would choose to put ahead of us. And if you'll remember, over a decade ago, I told you that they were aiming to put the Latinos over us, and then next up, you'd actually be looking at the Asians, sure, but I warned people they were planning to put us behind the Native Americans. Now, this is a story out of Houma, Louisiana. Not Homer, Houma, Houma. And there is a little-known Indian tribe there. And this is a story coming out of WVUE Fox 8. And fair use over there on YouTube, since y'all hate things so much. But if you're going to contribute to the channel over Super Chat, you might want to do it now before YouTube demonetizes me again. But I want you all to see this story, and as so often is the case, you gotta listen to the whole thing. You can't leave anything on the table. There's something in particular I want you all to see.
Tonight at Houma Nation wins a bid to buy a former school with the hopes of setting up the area's first museum dedicated to its people.
The site used to be an all-Indian school during the segregation era in the 50s and 60s. Andres Fuentes has more on the significance of the sale and what's next for the tribe.
Okay, so you see, this used to be a school back during segregation where they put the Native American kids. And now they want to convert it into a museum. Now, this all sounds very familiar here. As black people, you got Tariq with the Hidden History Museum in Los Angeles. I want you all to pay attention, though. So they want to turn this school into a museum. All right. But there's a swerve in here. There's a reason for this.
The principal's office was in the front. You know, the kids were banned. They had to go to the principal's office.
Marie Billiot looks at the abandoned Dagoville school where she spent time as a 14-year-old. In the 60s, it was the first school in the Terrebonne Parish public school system that let United Houma Nation children get a high school education during a time when segregation was strictly enforced.
They wouldn't allow the Indian kids to go to the white schools or to the black schools. You know, we had to have our own school, our own education, our own teachers and stuff like that.
The United Houma tribe saw potential in the land and put a bid out for the property with the hopes of giving it new life. And just last week, they found out that they had the highest bid.
Now, isn't that interesting? Of all the things that the United Houma Nation could do, they're focused on this little former school, and clearly there are not enough children left to turn this into a school again. So they want this former school. The real question is, okay, so what's the agenda here? I don't think there are enough of them there to even justify it being a museum. So what do they really want this building for? Pay attention.
Oh, it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be nice.
Biliat says she can't wait to see what will come of her former school, with her own son leading the charge to turn the space into a museum.
Currently, the city of Houma does not have a museum about that, specifically designated the history of the group about which the town is named.
The goal is to create a time capsule.
General counsel, so that means he's a lawyer? I tell you about black folk here. Our legal class is summarily useless, but okay.
Of the group about which the town is named.
The goal is to create a time capsule for the past and showcase the impact the tribe has had on the region up to present day, all while the Houma Indians continue.
Now pay attention to this part right here. I'll let you listen to all the rest of that. Here's the part I want you to hear.
Named.
The goal is to create a time capsule for the past and showcase the impact the tribe has had on the region up to present day, all while the Houma Indians continue fighting for federal recognition.
That knowledge and documentation, those are things that we can also use toward our federal recognition.
The fight for federal recognition has been one that spans generations, and leaders say it could be easier if the Dagoville School sees new life. The tribe says documents used to create the museum will help establish a genealogical record, which is required for federal recognition. And if they get that, it could help them obtain health care, education, loans, and other resources. If they get that, it could help them obtain health care, education, loans, and other resources. And if they get that, it could help them obtain health care, education, loans, and other resources.
Well, now that explains why they would be interested in this little rundown building after all these decades. After all these decades, the few members who are left, well, we want to come and get this little rundown building in this working class neighborhood. Well, why would you want that? We're the winning bid, yes. And now we want to turn it into a museum. And from there, we will use that as a springboard for more resources.
School sees new life. The tribe says documents used to create the museum will help establish a genealogical record, which is required for federal recognition. And if they get that, it could help them obtain health care, education, loans, and other resources.
Okay, so what they're saying is that they want to turn this old school into a museum, and then after that, they want to use that as a lighthouse. They want to use it as a lighthouse for the purposes of gathering other Houma Nation members and, as quote, establishing genealogy. Now listen to this.
Documents used to create the museum would be easier if the Dagoville School sees new life. The tribe says documents used to create the museum will help establish a genealogical record, which is required for federal recognition. And if they get that,
so Documents at the museum. They want the museum to be a place where they can gather documents so that they can establish genealogy. In other words, lineage. While folks are sitting up here acting like Forrest Gump Jr. when we say we want to establish standards for what it means to be a descendant of the slaves or a foundational. When we say that, folks act as if we're making something up or it is just too difficult to do or something else like that. That's what they do. That is what they do. And I want you to understand that that is the process of determining who it is, who qualifies, and who doesn't. They've been doing this with the so-called Native Americans now for decades. They've been doing this for decades with them now. Why is it that when we say, okay, and we will be able to determine who qualifies and, more importantly, who doesn't, when we say that we want to determine who it is who qualifies and who doesn't, that's the thing I want you to understand. They would have you all believe that we don't have the ability to determine who qualifies and who doesn't, and it would be too much of a hassle and too big of a process. I want y'all to understand that. And meanwhile, they're sitting right here doing a news story talking about the Houma Indians and saying, oh, well, no problem. Let them set up a museum and then they can establish genealogy. Don't you mean lineage? That is to determine whether or not you are a member of their tribe or not. Are you a member of their group or not? What I'm telling you all is that the purpose of establishing genealogy is so that you can determine who is excluded. Jason, who's excluded from what?
It could help them obtain health care, education, loans, and other resources.
Yeah, who it is who doesn't qualify. Please remember, over the course of the last 10, 15 years, there has been a ruthless effort by the so-called 5 civilized tribes to exclude the black members. And in reality, anybody who's not one of the black members is actually the questionable ones. But they've gotten together, and I'm showing you today. This story is only 3 days old. They're doing this right now, today, in Louisiana. Not Kansas, not Oklahoma, not Montana, not West Texas, Southern Louisiana. I want you to understand that. Now, as far as the former slave tribes down there, we ain't recognizing none of that. Don't worry about that. But to this day, these other folks are seeking reparations. Do you understand that? Reparations. We want to be federally recognized for reparations. Now, if you haven't been federally recognized before now, the real question is, why not? So what they're saying is we want this building because this building has historical significance, and from there, we're going to use this building as a launch pad in order to make a case to the federal government for the gathering of all types of resources. And by the way, financial. They want you to cut the check. That's why I asked the question here, who built this nation? Who built this nation? Because you see, when we're sitting here and stating exactly what it is that we want, and we're following the same pathway, I want you all to understand, take a look at what these folks are doing. They're not just setting up shop so they can have a museum. They're letting you know, oh, we want a museum so that we can use it. I mean, they sat here and got on the news and, oh, the museum is just step number one. We think we can use this museum as a home base as well as a historical landmark to establish who we are, and then to take that to the federal government and tell them we want to be recognized. You know, you never heard that kind of talk coming out of D.C. with the African American History Museum. You have not heard that coming from the African American History Museum in D.C. and all the others. You haven't seen them talking about the need to establish our lineage, our genealogy. You haven't heard anybody saying that to them. You haven't heard anybody calling them out over that. You haven't heard them telling folks the museum needs to be more than just a museum. It needs to actually perform these other things. But my thing is, regardless of whether it performs or not, do you understand how much thinking and planning went into this? I submit to you that Mr. General Counsel here, I submit to you that he's the reason. If he's a lawyer and if he's her son, I submit to you that he is the reason that they're doing this. Well, you know what? That goes a hell of a whole lot easier when you got a live-in lawyer on the tribe and he's willing to do the work of the people. In the chat room, you're quite correct. No study required. But then again, it looks like no verification required either. But I want you all to understand something. Take a look at the steps they're taking. First of all, somebody had to pass the bag so that they could buy them some real estate. So first and foremost, you got to have some resources to get started. You got to have a game plan. And most likely, old boy here was the one responsible for putting together the game plan. He said, Mama, that's where you went to school at. That has historical significance to us. If we purchase it, now we own that. We can have it declared a historical landmark. And then from there, we can use this as a lighthouse. And then we can gather other people. And if we gather enough, we can be recognized as our own independent lineage and tribe. Because we are due protections from the federal government. We're due protections and resources. You know, all the things them Negroes keep talking about. Yeah, all the things they talk about. Yeah, go ahead and line us up for that. That's what I'm talking about. If this is your first time hearing about this here tonight, give me the fire emoji in the chat room and hit the likes button for me. It's over 3,200 people in here live in just the first 18 minutes. And I am dropping the insight and analysis you'll receive absolutely nowhere else. So, if you hadn't heard that this was the game plan that was in effect right now, give me the fire emoji in the chat room and hit the likes button for me. I want y'all to understand this is something that hadn't been talked about. We're up here having the whole meetings and committees and, oh, we need to have a reparations commission. Meanwhile, these other folks, no commission required. But then again, things are going a little bit differently here. Let me go ahead and ask you a question here, folks. Where is our black judicial class to do a damn thing? I mean, if a black person gets, we got a few personal injury lawyers out there masquerading as civil rights attorneys, but Other than that, beyond that, what we got? Other than that, beyond that, what do we got? What do we got? What do we got? I want to explain something to you all here. It's easy to go and take shots at LeBron James and Tiger Woods and whoever your favorite, NFL player is. That's one thing. You know what's hard? To take a look at the little cross-eyed niggas down there. He say niggas? I sure did.
And deal with it, nigga.
Take a look at the little cross-eyed niggas down the street, claim that they are Attorney Esquire. Attorney James Evans Esquire. Let me tell y'all, the attorneys down the street from you would have a whole lot more impact on what happens to you in your city and in your community than any damn professional athlete will. Shout out to everybody here who's throwing something in the super chat tonight. Thank you very much for your support. We appreciate that. Black Soul, thank you very much. We appreciate that. Shawnee Blake, Cynthia, and everybody else here, thank you very much for your support. I want y'all to understand you have a whole lot more that can be done for you if your local so-called legal class would actually get up and do something. I want y'all to understand that. At the city level, the county level, the state level, you'd get a hell of a whole lot more done. I'm talking about if your so-called legal class would simply stand up and file 1 or 2 lawsuits. Not 50, if they just filed 1 or 2. Just 1 or 2. And we can't get that done. Just 1 or 2, and we can't get that done. I want you to understand what's really going on here. I want you to see the game plan as it was laid out. And as I observe this here, what it appears is that this fella on your screen is telling you that he's a member of the Houma Nation. He got together with his mother, who he can prove. Now, he can prove the government said that she is a member of the Houma Nation. The U.S. government said, oh, she is a Native American. You need to be segregated over here. You're not white. Now, they made the case even stronger by saying, you're not white, you're not black, you're something specific. And so we're putting you over here in this little building because you're something specific. And so this guy's like, you know what? We're going to turn that curse into a blessing. The government cannot refute its own words. The government says she is a Houma Indian, so we going to use that. So her son has been to law school, and now he's back and saying we gonna get resources, not for him so he can go drive a big-ass long Cadillac. He's saying, here's the game plan we get together. We're gonna buy this little old building. We're gonna purchase it. We're gonna make it into a place that establishes genealogy, just like the Mormons. And then we're gonna go ahead and we are going to use that to petition the federal government to say, recognize us as an Indian tribe. That's what happens when you got folks who throw some money and you have a legal class that's going to get behind it. All of a sudden, things start getting different. All of a sudden, things start moving differently. So I want to remind you all that while folks sit up here and talk about the professional athletes, and I'm not saying we should allow them off the hook, but while folks are talking about the so-called professional athletes, every time black folks turn around, what if Tyler Perry did this and Oprah Winfrey did that? Meanwhile, some of y'all got kids that you know, or even your own children, sitting there where you are and they got legal credentials and ain't doing a damn thing. Not doing a damn thing. Let me go ahead and remind you all, in case you want to know, how in the world is it that the Church of Scientology has been recognized by the IRS? I got to remind you, the Church of Scientology, that little fan club that L. Ron Hubbard created out of damn me whole cloth. David Miscavige was the inheritor of Scientology. And Miscavige wasn't playing no damn games. He brought in all the superstars. He brought in all the celebrities. And then when the federal government wants to sit up here and go after them, the Church of Scientology has had people like David Miscavige who are serious. So when the IRS said that they were going to tax them and that they wouldn't recognize them as a legitimate religion, they filed a lawsuit against the IRS in every individual court, in every individual state. Okay, how much did that cost the Church of Scientology? Zero. It didn't cost them nothing. The Church of Scientology didn't have to pay a damn thing because they didn't have a bunch of jawjackers sitting among them. They had true believers with skill sets. And next thing you know, they said, you know what? We gonna go toe-to-toe with the federal government. You will recognize us because you ain't gonna tax us. And that's why the Church of Scientology has billions, not millions, not hundreds of millions, billions of dollars in assets right now today. And those assets are safe and protected because those assets are part of the church. Those assets are part of the church. But let's be very, very clear. Scientology has what it does today because that small group of white folk have a legal class that gets up off of its ass and goes to work for the group. They ain't sitting around trying to drive a damn Lexus. They're not sitting around trying to style and profile in front of a Rolls Royce or in front of a swimming pool in the shape of the initials of their name. That's what it means to be a true believer. That's why I don't want to hear a damn thing from the so-called black Greeks and the sorors. The so-called sorors brought us Monique Presley and Kamala Harris.
Auntie, chill.
That's what we got from the black Greek fraternities and sororities and the secret society and the boule. A bunch of boot-licking, ass-kissing niggas trying to figure out how to get a government appointment, a political position, or some place in a high-ranking place in a corporation. You can't name a damn one of them niggas who ever sat up here and did what you see on your screen for us. We lost our black so-called legal class right after Brown versus Board of Education. I dare anybody to tell me otherwise. Thurgood Marshall got something done for us, and then they targeted him to get him out of the world of lawyering because they saw how fake the rest of them other damn niggas were. Damn! Well, it's true. They saw what Thurgood Marshall did, and they said, that's the one right there. Well, we can't assassinate him. We can go after those activists, but we can't assassinate this lawyer. Well, maybe we can co-opt him. Maybe we can make him an offer he can't refuse, a deal too good to say no. Hey, Thurgood, how would you like to be on the Supreme Court? If you were able to help your people as a lawyer in front of the Supreme Court, how would you like to become a member of the Supreme Court? Just like that, got him out of the way. They made him an offer too good to refuse, and just like that, got him out of the way. Because they looked behind him and they saw all the rest of those other opportunistic vermin standing behind Dr. King and said, none of them is a threat. None of them is serious. None of them is going to do anything. This Thurgood Marshall cat, now he's a problem. The rest of them, we ain't worried about them. The closest thing we had was Johnny Cochran. May he rest in power. He was out here on the streets trying to set the captive free and trying to set the soldiers free, and he had to build up a law firm. And I know what he was doing. He was trying to raise a legal army. I understand it. Johnny was trying to raise a legal army. Because he's like, hey, if you going to go up against the federal government and be black, you can't just go as one person. This is going to be the greatest legal upset in the history of jurisprudence. We're going to have to bring an army of lawyers, not just one. No matter how talented, we got to bring an army of lawyers if you're going to take down the U.S. government. Next thing you know, Johnny gets a brain tumor. Wonder if there are any radiation weapons being used around there. And what have you seen since Johnny? Crickets. Yeah, folks have been getting shot by the police, and I understand that, but I'll be damned, every year you can see the National Association of Black Lawyers get together for some shindig. And of course they'll bring Roland Martin or some other ass-kissing jackass. You ain't seen none of them niggas get together. And let me tell y'all, let me go here. So there's a film that's being made. I want to say Jamie Foxx is going to star in it. It's about this black lawyer in Florida. And there was this funeral home, I want to say in Mississippi, although it might not be in Mississippi if I've only seen the thing once. And it's that he's a lawyer and he's a personal injury attorney, and these folks here, basically he wound up suing these white folks and things and won a bunch of money from it. That's great, that's wonderful. My whole thing is that's what we end up with. That's what we end up with. So you mean to tell me you got he's got a big old house and the swimming pool is in the shape of his initials? Okay, that's great. That's wonderful. I get that. No problem. That's all right. Okay, but Willie Gray, when you finish stomping for them white folks, what you gonna do for us? Remember, everybody else turned him down. He said, okay, I'll take the case. Okay, what about us? I remember seeing before they even made the movie, I remember seeing a news piece about it before they even did the movie. So I remember seeing it years ago. I remember hearing about this years ago. So I didn't even know the movie was out. So y'all say it's on Prime. Okay, I didn't even know the movie was finished. I thought they were still working on it because I hadn't heard anything. But I knew they had mentioned Jamie Foxx in the association with it. But in any case, okay, the movie is out. Hopefully the movie gives you a good idea of what occurred. My point is, okay, after that, now what? How much do you need? How much do you need before you decide, you know what the hell good is this law credential, and I ain't doing something to change the world. You done set up here and did something for yourself, not for the rest of us here. That's the issue I want y'all to understand. I want you all to understand that this didn't happen out of nowhere. Number one, you had the finances. First of all, you had a plan. Second of all, you had the finances. Third of all, you got a legal counsel to sit up here and push this thing through and say, this is the wedge and here's we working it. These other folks here don't just sit up here and make a damn law firm so they can style and profile in front of their Bentley. They go off and do this, and then next thing you know, other things are getting done for the community at large. This is why they don't have to stomp and march and protest or any of that garbage. They got a lawyer who done set up here and filed suit on their behalf. Ain't that right, Ed Blum? Damn! Ain't that right, Ed Blum? Somebody tell me what it's costing Ed Blum to run that damn white supremacist legal think tank he's got. What is it costing him to run that? With them going straight to the Supreme Court. They're not even talking to the state courts. They're going straight to the Supreme Court. Meanwhile, over here where black folk are, they telling you, well, I mean, we gotta get paid, man. We gotta get paid. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. You do have to get paid. But by the way, one of the other problems we have here is you're looking out for number one in yourself, and you think you're going to make yourself an island unto yourself? Then when they come for them Negroes, ain't nobody there for them. I wanted to put this in stark relief for you all so you can see exactly how this occurred and exactly how it went down. These other folks didn't sit up here and get it with nothing. They didn't get it with nothing. These other folk here, once again, people, before you sit up here and go whine about the athletes, and I get it, I understand it, I've given them the work too. They should not be let off the hook. Absolutely not. But you got black lawyers right down the street from you. You got black lawyers right down the road from you who could take care of this where you are. They could handle this and do something about this right where you are. And folks are giving them a pass? How the hell are we sitting up here ignoring that? I'm the guy who started talking about this years and years ago. Let me tell y'all something. Let me go ahead and back the train up for just a moment here. Folks, I'm going to go there tonight. I'm all the way lit on it. I'm going there tonight. When you talking about the mother of white supremacy, Carolyn Bryant, let me tell y'all something. We've been talking about that for years here. Years. We've been talking about that for years. Nobody moved. We've been talking about that for years. Nobody moved. When somebody finally did, I said, man, look here, I guess better late than never, I guess, but okay, let's get on it. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say this publicly. I'm going to say this right now publicly. Malik Shabazz, all I know is you were their attorney, allegedly. Next thing I know, I talked to the family 2 times. Next thing I know, they don't want to talk anymore. Now, Malik, I'm not going to say you had something to do with that, and I'm not going to say you were behind it, but what I am going to say is I do consider it to be very interesting that I had no problem getting a hold of those people twice. And then right after that second time, when they mentioned you, right after that second time, they wouldn't answer the phone for me anymore. Right after that second time, Malik. And I just can't help but wonder what happened there. I just can't help but wonder it, Malik. I just can't. Anytime you would like to contact me and clear the air on that, by the way, you are more than welcome to do so. Malik knows how to get a hold of me. So anytime you like to contact me and go ahead and clear the air on that, if I am in error for being suspicious about, by the way, I had no problem dealing with those people. Second phone call, talked about Malik, and then all of a sudden can't get a hold of them anymore. Want me to go further? I will. Want me to go further? I can do that. Not a problem. Shout out to Shauna Ward. Shout out to Shauna Ward, one of the hardest working investigators in the home-based investigators in the business. Keep her focused. She does good. She does excellent work. We got a hold of the chairman of Alabama. Me and her were up at like 4 in the morning right after he had gotten arrested. I'm like, oh, I'm calling bail bondsmen at 3 and 4 in the damn morning. I'm like, hey, if he's been arrested, he getting out tonight. I don't give a damn. Turns out he was already out. Okay, fine, wonderful. I'm following up. Hey, anything you need, we got that. This, that, and the other. Here we go. Here we go. But couldn't help but notice that Lee Merritt was circling around. Lee Merritt was orbiting around. Jason, what happened with Lee? I'm not going to drag him through the mud, but I'm different from a lot of other folks here. If I hear things that are spurious and off code, if folks ask me something about that, it's like, okay, let me explain this. When you start with the black male rape culture thing, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Hold on a minute. No. In the middle of Me Too, talking about black male rape culture? What? Okay, let me go ahead and put this down. I'm not going to carry that one. Let me put that down. Let me go ahead and put that down. Well, the chairman of Alabama, I had no problem getting a hold of him. Right up until Lee Merritt decided he wanted to come back into the picture, then I can't get a hold of the chairman of Alabama anymore. So if everybody wants to know what actually happened there, by the way, if you want to talk about your so-called black judicial illegal class, let me go ahead and just explain that to you. I mean, didn't have a problem getting a hold of Reggie before then. Didn't have a problem getting a hold of him before then. Next thing I know, Lee Merritt wasn't seen for a while, but Lee Merritt, all of a sudden, I see him circling again. All of a sudden, the chairman is like, my attorney told me it wouldn't be a good idea to talk to you. Now, whether there's emphasis on the word talk or emphasis on the word you, not 1,000% certain, but I'm just explaining to all of y'all right now, by the way, that's what happened. That's what occurred. Y'all know me. You know I'm that dude. You know I ain't Mr. Talk. I'm about that action. Carolyn Bryant, y'all know damn well I told y'all I ain't even holding a crowdfunding for that. I did not get where I am in life to let that old, haggard, cowardly, dog-ass witch live in peace. I'm on it. And it wasn't because of lack of trying. I was all over it. And shout out to the folks here who helped me to get in touch with them. But that's what happened. I have my suspicions. Your so-called black judicial class is looking for a photo op. Your so-called black judicial class is looking for a photo op. They looking for a photo op or a rapper to stand in front of. They looking for shine. They looking to sit up here and be celebrity lawyers. Nobody's trying to put the white supremacists under the damn jail. Nobody is trying to fundamentally change things. You see, back when a black lawyer was not legally allowed to make no money, they were actually getting things done. Back when they couldn't focus on making money because they weren't allowed to make no real money, well, that's when they were doing the most elbow throwing and the most foot moving. Now they just do the most butt dancing. And if I see one more of these attorneys or ex-attorneys pretending, former game show hosts, pretending that they're going to run for damn me political office, we don't just have a problem with people not being dependable. We got a problem with general incompetence. And yeah, I said it. Monique Presley is not a blithering idiot, but Monique Presley is a professional white ass kisser. who is pretending to herself that there is a celebrity attorney job waiting for her somewhere. Let me tell you, sister, it ain't out there. Give it up, Johnny. It ain't happening. And you're wasting time. That's the real shame and the real crime of what you're doing, Monique. You got time to sit up here and go at me and diss me on Twitter, and meanwhile, I'll be damned. Daniel Pentalio walking the streets. Darren Wilson walking the streets. George Zimmerman walking the streets. Monique Presley going at me on Twitter. That's your black judicial legal class. That's them right there. That's them. Sitting up here circling with Butterball Roland Martin and tell me what the hell got done. That's why you all haven't heard the name Monique since I mentioned it just now. Yes, ma'am, you have gone off and receded into obscurity. By the way, what happened to your other clients? Didn't you represent R. Kelly for a while there? What? Okay. By the way, where is R. Kelly today? I was just going over her list of clients, by the way. Where is R. Kelly? Oh, wait a minute. Now I remember. Okay. Anyway, moving right along. We won't dwell there. Your black so-called judicial class, this is what we got going on. They want to sit up here and go pose and primp and dance in front of Ski-Wee Harris. That's what they think is funny. Jason's like a biting dog. You damn right I am. I'm sitting here watching as black folk in Louisiana, if y'all want to know what the hell really went wrong, where we really went off the damn rails, I'm telling you right now, it's not really a matter of money, and it's not really a matter of activists. When the white supremacists tried to sit up here and gather in front of the Texas courthouse on Texas Street, y'all saw us out there, but that's not the issue. The issue isn't what's happening outside the courthouse. The issue is what's happening inside that son of a gun. Our judicial class are looking to become card-carrying, rubber-stamped members of the party. And they want to use the masses as a stepping stool in the electorate. But they're not looking to elevate the masses. They're just looking to get a slot for themselves. A bunch of y'all right now, you got kids who are in law school. You got folks who, some of y'all, you were going to law school a decade and a half ago when you first met me. A decade and a half later, we ain't got a damn thing to show for it. We don't have a damn thing to show for it, except the styling and the profiling and trying to tell folks you're an attorney. Yeah, an attorney who ain't got a damn thing done. Not a damn thing done. But boy, they'll show up on the cocktail circuit. They'll show up at the Petroleum Club. They'll show up at the Kiwanis Club. They'll sit up here and pose on Facebook trying to look like damn me the rapper Rick Ross. They'll get a YouTube channel. They'll puff their chest out. Well, you want to know what a real lawyer does? You take a look on that screen. And you know what? I'll go ahead and say this right now. You want to know what a real lawyer does? Go take a look at Ed Blum and those white supremacists over there. By the way, they're getting things done. They're not giving it a moment's peace. Every day, all day, every day, this is all they do. White Supremacy Legal 101, that's all they do, all day, every day. All the time, every time, that's all they do. They're not sitting up here talking about, well, you know, we got to get paid, we got to chase this ambulance over here. Let me get my electric scooter so I can chase this ambulance down. Gotta make that settlement. Let me go ahead and explain that damn little racket. Let me remind y'all how that little racket works. Let me explain to y'all about the settlement racket. These attorneys are what attorneys do is that when they're trying to run a business, what they do is they focus on a settlement. The reason that they focus on a settlement is because they're trying to get the case filed and resolved within the same calendar year. What? For those of you who don't know that's the way it works. They prefer to have the cases filed and resolved within the same calendar year if they can. That's why Cassie's lawyer, saying names, Cassie's lawyers, their whole thing, they knew that if it went to court, she didn't really have a snowball's chance in hell of winning, but that wasn't what they were trying to do. They were trying to intimidate and scare Diddy and make it where, okay, if we get you on the stand, then we can get all these other folk under oath confirming what she said. So we're not attacking you legally because we can't defeat you legally. We're holding your reputation hostage. Let's see if we can get away with doing that. In his case, that worked. But the attorneys, from the time they filed the suit to the time that Diddy settled, was 6 months. That's the point I want y'all to understand. From the time they filed that lawsuit to the time that Diddy settled, from the time of check-in to cut the check, 6 months. Don't you understand? For a law firm, that's the sweet spot. We don't have to go through years of litigation. We don't have to go through years of discovery. We don't have to go through years of depositions. 6 months, in, out, bam. Multi-million-dollar payout. With an absolute minimum of work. All they had to do was basically file a legal judicial threat. And 6 months later, it's out. Guess what? Same thing worked on Bill Cosby. It's been working on these cats in the entertainment industry for decades. Somebody threatens, they file a suit, you settle. That's the sweet spot. Gloria Allred, that's what she's done for a living. Targeting black men. That's what they do for a living. If they are able to sit up here and file a suit and get that son of a gun run through and settled within 6 months, that's great. So if Walter Scott, if somebody sits up here and shoots you in the back, Michael Slager shoots you in the back, let's see if we can get this thing settled with the city within 12 calendar months. So we can get, as far as they're concerned, as attorneys, you doing real good if you can make $1 million in 1 year off of a single case. That is maximum efficiency. In the world of law, in the world of the courts, to be able to file the lawsuit and then to have it resolved that calendar year, man, that's the sweet spot. So if you want to know why it is that so many of your black lawyers are personal injury lawyers, I want you to understand, or even the criminal defense ones, you can't really get a whole lot of good work out of them. It's because for a lot of lawyers, what they're trying to do is resolve that case as quickly as possible, get the settlement done so they can go ahead and run off. And the real question is, nigga, run off where? Where are you going? They want to sit up here and go see the third or fourth side chick. They want to sit up here and go get their fourth or fifth overpriced car. They want to sit up here and go chase paralegals around the damn city and pinch them on the ass. Okay, but when them folks come for them, then all of a sudden it's, ooh, where black folk at? Let me tell you right now, that's the reason that black youngsters don't take the legal field seriously. Because we used to have Thurgood Marshalls. We used to have Johnny Cochrans. We used to have folk like that. Now we ain't got nothing. They're a damn joke. You had to have suspected white supremacist Morris Dees through the Ku Klux Klan. You know who didn't? Your so-called black lawyers, they didn't. Shouldn't require no Morris D's. It shouldn't require that. We're supposed to already have that. We're supposed to already have it. So I just want y'all to know the prediction that I made over a decade ago that, by the way, I don't see black folk just falling behind Latinos or behind Asians. I see us falling behind the Native Americans. I see us falling behind them. And the reason why is because these other folks have all the legs of the stool in place. They got all of them in place. You have a so-called legal class that doesn't lift a damn finger. And that's the thing we need to call out. These other folks, if they got one lawyer out there, he gets to damn me work for them. If they got one lawyer, he gets to work. Black folk over here with people shooting up the damn place like Bruce Willis, depriving your rights every damn place we go. And what do we got to show for it? I'm saying it for a reason. This kind of thing comes from the soil up, not from the top down. And as a people, we got to start saying that. I want y'all to understand, I don't want a damn attorney anywhere on social media able to say their name or show their face or brag about any damn thing they claim they doing. What you doing for black folk, man? And don't tell me about what's your damn discipline or not. Don't tell me what the hell is your damn specialty. You're a personal injury lawyer. Well, I'll be damned. We been injured, nigga. Can't you see we been injured? We're a family law attorney. Well, I'll be damned. Don't you see? We done had our families deprived here. Every time you turn around, I want y'all to know who you don't have patience with. I want you to know who you don't have patience with. You don't have patience with that. I want y'all to lose that. Take a look at what's happening in Houma, Louisiana. I'm showing you what it is. This dude done come back. His mama, the segregation years, you talking about over 60 years ago. And he's like, you know what, mama, I think we can do something with this. I think we can do something with this. Don't let these folks sit up here and give y'all these excuses. Our black legal class is fundamentally, summarily worthless. Our black so-called legal class is summarily, fundamentally worthless. Across the board. That's the reason why, in case you want to know, why the white supremacists ain't afraid. You know why? Because if it ain't on video, they're like, well, you'd have to hire a black lawyer. Oh, they're not gonna bust a grape. That means you gotta go to the white lawyers, and the white folk who just sat up here and violated your rights know all the white lawyers. So you end up going to them. No wonder they know how things gonna go. From the white DA to the white prosecutor to the white defense attorneys to the white public defenders, that's where you at. That's where you are. And once again, let me be very, very clear. I ain't got no problem with anybody making a payday. I don't have any problem with anybody making a living. But let me tell you something. Johnny Cochran made a hell of a living when he was an attorney. Damn! Johnny Cochran made a hell of a living as an attorney. And he got some things done for us. How the hell is it you're 30 damn years later and we don't have 30 times the progress? What is it that Johnny Cochran was made of that these new niggas ain't? What the hell was Johnny made of that these new niggas are not? I just want y'all to understand that that's a missing piece of the reparations puzzle. That's a missing piece right there, y'all. I gotta lay it on you. I gotta lay it on you. That's a missing piece in there. When you talk about that puzzle, that's a missing piece. Because the reason you got to go through the politicians is because you don't have the legal structure framework in front of you. You got an NAACP, worthless. You got a CORE, worthless. You got an NCOBRA, let me know what their legal counsel has done. Oh, wait a minute, we already know. These folks want to sit up here and get accolades, and that's not the way that works. They shouldn't be concerned with getting accolades. Kyle Rittenhouse and all the rest of these folk here, their attorneys don't have any problems showing up. They have none. As black people, folks would be a hell of a whole lot more reluctant to mess with us if they understood, by the way, we got the legal game together. But what they know is it's specious. They know it's fractured. They know it's not organized. Therefore, they're willing to hedge their bets and take their chances. But if more of them saw that that was happening to them, if more of them saw that we had a legal class that was actually working for us, specifically for us as the descendants of slaves, all that would change. Now, I said all that because I want you all to see one more thing here. I want to play this, and I want you all to see one more thing.
It could help them obtain health care, education, loans, and other resources.
I look at my people, the Houma people. We've been here for a long time, and we're an indigenous tribe to Louisiana. Baton Rouge is named after our tribe because the French explorers came in and said, oh, what is this red stick? And it was a boundary line between our tribe and the Bayou Gulas. But yet we're not federally recognized. Something's wrong with that.
And just yesterday, Congressman Clay Higgins actually introduced a bill that would grant the United Houma Nation federal recognition. Right now, that measure will soon be heard in the Natural Resources Committee.
Now, did you hear that last part?
And just yesterday, Congressman Clay Higgins actually introduced a bill that would grant the United Houma Nation federal recognition.
And I said to myself, Clay Higgins? Well, that's interesting. I thought that was very interesting because I said, I recognize that name. I know that name. Yeah, Congressman Clay Higgins. And, well, depending on what you do here is you ought to recognize those names as well. But Clay Higgins, yeah, he's a congressman from Louisiana. And of course, you know us. It's hit or miss down there. It either goes really well or it goes straight to hell, one or the other. But yeah, I remembered the name Clay Higgins. And the reason that I remembered the name Clay Higgins won't be very hard to figure out here. Clay Higgins was on Tucker Carlson a couple of months ago. Clay Higgins was on Tucker Carlson because he wanted to let you all know that there were FBI agents. It was FBI agents. Let me go ahead and show that here real quick. There's Clay. Well, there you are. Congressman Clay Higgins. There he is. Well, yes, sir. There's Congressman Clay Higgins. And, oh, there he is with Tucker Carlson. Well, we all know Tucker Carlson doesn't have a white supremacist bone in his body anywhere. We all know that. So there's Congressman Clay Higgins, of course, dressed very well, by the way. He's dressed very well. And Congressman Clay Higgins is there to tell you all that January 6th was not a riot. January 6th was not an uprising. Nobody got hurt on January 6th. As a matter of fact, there were FBI agents all over the place. Yeah, this is Congressman Clay Higgins. And when he's not sitting there with Tucker Alt-Right Carlson attacking black people, why, he's filing cases. He's filing bills. No plebiscite, no commission, no anything. None of that required. None of that required. Also, by the way, I'd like to thank the news reporter here, Mr. Fuentes. Hopefully not related to Nick Fuentes. Hopefully not related to Nick Fuentes. But I'd like to thank the news reporter, Mr. Fuentes, for going ahead and doing this story and bringing this to light. And also, thank you very much for your due diligence in letting us know that Congressman Clay Higgins, folks, please show me the Native American Congressional Caucus. What? Show me the Congressional Native American Caucus. Can someone tell me how many members there are in the Congressional Native American Caucus? Tell me how many. I'm willing to wager any amount you would like that it's not nearly as many in the Congressional Black Caucus. Not nearly as many. Understand that. These folks didn't have to march, protest, get together a committee, get together a commission. Here, we're going to buy this building. Oh, what do you know? There's a United States congressman, not even a member of our tribe. He's going to work for you. Meanwhile, over here on our side of the fence. I just wanted you to have a good idea and a good comprehension of exactly why we got the results that we do. I wanted you to understand that. Who built this nation? I started off tonight's program by asking that question. By the way, who built this nation? While you're turning the clock back to look at everybody else, by the way, who built this place? Well, next, let me tell you right now, Joe Biden has decided to weigh in on that. Joe Biden has decided to weigh in on it, and it dovetails off of what we were talking about last night. And we're going to go ahead and discuss that right after this very brief non-commercial break. Before I do, I want to thank everyone here. We've been celebrating them remonetizing the channel here. So big shout out here to the Black Powder Podcast. Thank you very much for your support tonight. Here for the word. We're very glad to hear that as well. Big shout out here to Veronica. We're going to give them the work, Veronica. So thank you very much here tonight. Andrea Roberson, I appreciate you too as well, sister. Thank you to everyone and everybody else who has contributed for tonight's program on PayPal, Venmo, Super Chat. Thank you all very much for your support. We appreciate that. When we come back, oh, no. Joe Biden would like to tell you all who really built this nation. And I'm not joking. This coming up momentarily. This is the Black Channel.
Hello, my name is Steve Burgess. I'm the author of this book, Guidelines for the Successful Student, a closer look at parenting your school-aged child. In this book, I've explained the role of the parent and the student in addition to what accommodations, procedures, rewards and consequences and expectations that need to be in place to ensure student success from primary to high school. This book is available on Amazon.com. For more information, please visit my link tree at Easy One-on-One. And to access my latest podcast, A Teaching Moment with Mr. B. Thank you all for listening.
A white supremacist assassin seeks revenge. Corrupt FBI agents with evil intentions. Dangerous black collaborators dedicated to treason. Occam Jeffers must defeat them all and somehow survive. One misstep and he's a dead man. Join Occam Jeffers as he looks the devil in his blue eyes and tells him, Black First. A sequel to the underground hit War of the Heart, Spirit of 1811 Publishing presents God Love Us, on sale at Amazon. Pre-order and save today. Visit spiritOf1811publishing.com and show your love.
Order yours today to experience all the benefits of Ash Kickin' natural body butter. With skin so smooth and soft, you'll thank us for it. Shop Ash Kickin' online. That's ASHKICKIN.com.
Hi, this is Brenda Starr, creator of Poetry with a Purpose and author of the book Pressed But Not Crushed. Pressed But Not Crushed is an anthology of political poems that address current and historical issues in American descendants of slave population and African American population. The book describes slaveries and its residuals, Jim Crow segregation, social depredation, and other relevant issues to American descendants of slaves and African Americans, including the current political climate that does not address our issues.
This is the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. Very glad to be with you all here this evening. We're going to go ahead and kick this over into another gear here because none other than your favorite president and mine, Joe Biden, he was talking to Jonathan Put on the Cape Hart over there at MSNBC and was talking about the State of the Union address. So Joe Biden referred to an illegal alien as an illegal alien, and Speaker Mike Johnson, once again from Louisiana, along with Clay Higgins, boy, he didn't like that. He didn't like that at all, and he posted a snippet from the interview. It's been watched here over 13 million times on Twitter. Hear it for yourselves here. I want you to listen to what happened during this exchange.
About Vermin, the way he talks about these people.
I noticed the look of surprise on your face when you walked into the chamber and you saw Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. It was priceless. You feigned shock at seeing her. But during your response to her heckling of you, you used the word illegal when talking about the man who allegedly killed Laken Riley.
An undocumented person. And I shouldn't have used illegal. It's undocumented. And look, when I spoke about the difference between Trump and me, one of the things I talked about on the border was that the way he talks about vermin, the way he talks about these people polluting the blood. I talked about what I'm not going to do, what I won't do. I'm not going to treat any of these people with disrespect. Look, they built the country. The reason our economy is growing. We have to control the border and more orderly flow.
Did you hear that? Let's back it up one more time. Now, he's talking about illegals. He is not talking about legals. He's talking about illegals.
Any of these people with disrespect. Look, they built the country. The reason our economy is growing. We have to control the border.
I'm not going to treat any of these people with disrespect. Is this the same Joe Biden who said, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black? What? Is this the same one? It must be a different one. Is this the same one? Talk about the gall. Talk about the nerve. These people built the country. I mean, did you see how that rolled off the tongue? They can't even vote for him. But I mean, this bastard is caping like Superman, flying around in circles for a group that can't even vote for him. And boy, he's bowing and scraping, and we're going to be respectful. And oh yeah, by the way, yes, if you're not in the place legally, that the word for that is illegal, not undocumented. When's the last time one of you got a ticket for an undocumented lane change? When's the last time one of you went to court for an undocumented weapon? Oh, I'm sorry, that cop last night. unauthorized weapon. Oh, yeah, I forgot. The white cop last night. Yeah, from Henderson. Oh, I forgot about him. Well, yeah, okay. I guess if you got the complexion for the protection, then, yeah. Sure. All of a sudden, illegal, kind of moves out your... Okay. Now we got it. That kind of moves out of your vocabulary. And you all understand what that's for, right? You take a look at all these big white-owned construction companies, all these big white-owned firms that get these government contracts and these city contracts. Of course, if they were employing illegal aliens, we'd have to come and round up all the white men who own these companies and cart them off to jail. But, oh, your workers aren't illegal. They are undocumented. Understand who this is protection for. It is not protection for the human masses coming across the border illegally. It is protection for the folks who are bringing them here. That change in vernacular is not to protect the illegals coming across the border. It's to protect the white men who are bringing them here. Recognize what that's for. Joe Biden is sitting here in front of Jonathan Capehart, and Jonathan Capehart doesn't say a damn word to correct him. Not a word. But then again, as long as he's got Zaddy to grip him, he's fine with whatever in the world happens. He's fine with anything that occurs. So long as they got his back and he's got theirs. So there's that. Jonathan Capehart just wants you to understand whose side he's on, not yours. But then again, when you are marginally capable and marginally competent like he is, you're going to spend a lot of time trying to figure out a way to hold on to your penny-any-ass job at MSNBC. Because he saw what happened to Don Lemon. What he saw was, oh, being gay is not protection no more. We need something different. Being the gay Negro is no longer protection. By the way, while I'm at it here, folks who are being appraised of where they are, you'll all remember that just last night I was telling you about Megyn Kelly. Oh, Megyn Kelly, who, now for those of you who doubted me and were just saying, well, Jason is just talking, what he's saying is verbiage, but I don't really think it adds up the way he's saying it does. I mean, it could be true, but boy, Jason, we're not really sure if that's really the way things are going or whatnot. You might be embellishing things a little bit here. Well, look no further than Donald Trump is in Georgia yesterday while I was doing this program, and I want you to hear what he had to say. He was talking about when he went into his first debate. Back in 2016, he's talking about when he went into his first debate, and listen to what he says.
From the beginning it worked, and then I got on television and they asked me that horrible, horrible question, remember? And I said, oh, my dad, that's the first question I ever got. Megyn Kelly, may she rest in peace. She's sort of making a career by pretending she likes me. And then...
Well, so you mean to tell me that Jason called it? Literally wasn't 24 hours and Donald Trump proved that every word I said last night about Megyn Kelly, y'all thought those were throwaway lines. You thought that I was just kind of babbling a little bit. You thought I was just on a rant. No. Megyn Kelly is throwing unjustified shots at black people when she's supposed to be shooting at Joe Biden. But she takes out a moment to throw shots at us. Like, wait a minute, whose credentials are you trying to bolster yourself for? Now you all see I was right. Oh, because the white men with power are done with you. And Trump just called it out. Yeah, she's trying to get back in good with me. She's trying to get back in good with me now. Some folks thought I was just going on some weird rant last night and just thought, well, Jason, you're kind of just me. Jason, this couldn't possibly be, you're trying to psychoanalyze. Jason, it couldn't be that serious here. Why are you going on so long about this? 24 hours, wasn't even 24 hours later. There we go. There we go. Yeah, when Donald Trump is telling Megyn Kelly that he don't fool with you, how do you maintain your credit? Let me explain something, folks. Donald Trump is the leader, not of the Republican Party. He is the leader of the right-wing movement in America today. The whole reason for him for stamping out Ron DeSantis right now, Ron DeSantis has not disappeared, by the way. Ron DeSantis is hard at work as we speak, shutting down spring break in Florida. What? No, I'm serious. Go check the news, y'all. My folks down there in Florida already know about it. Ron DeSantis has been busy shutting down spring break in Florida. You know, ever since he got kicked off the presidential trail, he's doing useful things like that. So he's gotten together with Miami and Miami Beach and everybody else, and they're charging $100 for parking, and they don't want people parked in front of the restaurants, and they're limiting how many people can go on the beach. So they're literally saying that we don't want people coming down here for spring break. Literally. That's what Ron DeSantis is doing right now as we speak. My people in Florida will bear me witness. That's what they're doing right this second as I talk to you all. Well, guess what? He got sent on a permanent vacation back to Florida because Trump stomped him the hell out. And the reason for doing that was not so that he would be recognized as the leader of the Republican Party, but so that he would be recognized as the leader of conservatism and the right wing in America today. Megyn Kelly lost her in at Fox. You don't get to sit up here and go to war with Rupert Murdoch and make it out, and Roger Ailes, and make it out okay. She's made it to the internet. She's let some of the stench of her ridiculous stint at NBC wear off for a little bit, and now she's on the internet trying to make a name for herself. But she's trying to shore up her credentials over there. Okay, well, what do you do if Donald Trump sits up here and says that you're not a legitimate conservative? What do you do when you're trying to save yourself? You ran to the internet and you've told the internet how much you like Trump, and Trump is the dude and Biden's a dud, and then Trump jumps up and says, by the way, that Megyn Kelly, that stinker, by the way, she's pretending she likes me now. Oh, don't you know Trump is trying to decapitate somebody's career out there? What do you do, Megyn? Now that he called you out publicly. He called her out publicly and said, yeah, by the way, I ain't forgot about you. Yeah, you've been sitting over there on YouTube thinking you gonna fly below the radar. You thinking you gonna fly below the radar. You gonna fly below the radar? Are you serious? Trump let him know, by the way, we ain't forgot about you. Don't think for a moment we forgot about you. Now, don't you know that that's impacting her right-wing credentials? That impacts her right-wing credentials, her right-wing credibility, her ability to speak for anybody who ain't a flaming liberal. He went straight after that. No wonder she made it her job to talk about us. That's supposed to reinforce to the white supremacist males, hey guys, You need me. I have over 1 million subscribers on YouTube. I am willing to punch the Negroes in the nose. You need me. You guys can't throw me overboard. You need me. And let's be very, very clear. Megan ain't gonna say one solitary damn word against Trump. She gonna take that pimp slap and she gonna smile and say, "Thank you, white daddy. May I have another? If you would be so gracious, may I have another? From the left hand this time, please, sir." That's all she gonna do. She is not gonna sit up here and raise her hands at him. It ain't gonna happen. Not going to occur. She is not gonna do it. He's putting her back in line. When he said that, that was him sending a call out and putting the word out to all the males out there. By the way, we don't fool with her. By the way, he putting the pimp hand down. And furthermore, that is the correct thing for him to do. That is the correct thing for him to do, because in the process of doing that, you can't wait until you get to a debate night to figure out where the hell she gonna stand at. What you do is make sure that she doesn't have the ability to do anything. You make sure she don't have the ability to do anything. No, oh, she's going to have to kiss your ass all the way to the voting booth. All the way there. He's humbling her early. He's going to humble her right now. He ain't going to take no chances. We're going to humble Megan now. Ain't that going to be something that Donald Trump set up here? I mean, he done went down, leaning down on the ground like he's picking something up to swing this pimp hand, give her that backhand. And after she picks herself up off of the floor, she's just gonna be smiling. You know why? Because she cannot afford for Trump to keep reminding people. She doesn't have any other benefactors. She can't get a leg up from the corporate world anymore. She got to deal with the grassroots, and the grassroots will cut it off quick. They'll cut it off quick. So I was just reminding you all here that the reason why you get the 720 degrees of analysis that you receive absolutely nowhere else. I don't just say that because that's a slogan. Black folk are so far behind, I can't just have you up to speed. I got to have you ahead of the curve. I got to have you ahead of it. So I've just utilized all my years of insight and analysis to let you know, by the way, I don't just tell you about what may happen or what should happen. I tell you about what will. Well, Jason, she ain't that relevant. Don't none of them care about her. Any jackass who said that last night. Man, them Republicans ain't worried about her. They all right. Ain't nobody worried about her. Yeah, you might want to wipe that egg off your face. By the way, Charlie, you might want to wipe that egg off your face. You might want to wipe that egg off your face there. However, you might disagree. You might, although why would you? But in the unlikely event that you do, the telephone lines are now open, and the number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933, your personal access code to the blackest radio program in existence, the only one of its kind on planet Earth today. And as always, you are welcome to join us. We're going to go ahead and go here to the phone lines. Oh, before we do, though, I do want to send a shout out to my man, Mr. Dixon. All right, Black Wall Street 1000. Calling out the Port City. Thank you very much for your support, brother. To my man, Mr. Rich Bird, Miss Mangum, and everybody else who has supported tonight's program on PayPal, Venmo, Super Chat. Thank you very much to all of you. We appreciate that here. We are doing our job so that you can do yours. We're delivering you to the 10 tons of analysis you'll receive nowhere else. The 720 degrees of insight that has been lacking from your news and media, giving you the stories that may have passed you by or may have flown under the radar and putting them in their proper context so that you have the intellectual ammunition that you need to win any argument anywhere, especially in your own lives, and also pointing out to you the narrative from the grassroots. That's the important part for you here as well. We're going to go ahead and get over here to the telephone lines. The number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933. Let me get caller from area code 323. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, good evening, big brother Jason. This is brother Elijah calling out of Wheaton, Maryland.
Brother Elijah out of Wheaton, what's on your mind?
Hey, brother, I got a question for you because this I got a question and I got a follow-up question. The first question I have, when with the Dr. Claude Anderson predicting that we was on our way to number 3 and number 4, they wasn't going to help us. Are we almost there, basically? What I mean by almost there, are we almost like economically wiped out? Because this is going to be a very bad move when they that they put the Native Americans in front of us.
Okay,
that's my first question.
Folks, here as always, it's time for us to update your files.
Join me, and I will complete your training.
Folks, let me explain something
Yes,
here.
sir.
I want to take you beyond what just Dr. Anderson did, because Dr. Anderson was talking to us about yesterday. I got to talk to you about today and tomorrow here. We are already behind these other groups, but let me explain to you why. We're already behind the Native Americans, but let me explain to you why. Because the Native Americans have been given an official socioeconomic safety net as a condition of government policy. I'm not just saying this is hyperbole. I'm not just saying this is a metaphor. They're literally talking about, by the way, once we get recognized by the federal government, we are entitled to an economic floor, as Dr. King called it. During his famous coming to get our check speech, he said that the American government, back with the Homestead Act back in the 1800s, they undergirded their impoverished immigrants from Europe with an economic floor. They undergirded them with that. Then they come back and tell you and me, oh, we can't do nothing for y'all. Of course, they took the floor that we built and gave it to somebody else. The Native Americans have also been given an economic floor. So what I'm saying is that a Native American's ability to fall socioeconomically in America is limited. A black person's ability to fall is unlimited. You can go all the way down. A Native American is given resources and they have to basically mess it off. Not you. So their economic floor is much higher than ours is. And it has been now for over a century. So in effect, yeah, they've already got that. They're already ahead of us socioeconomically to that degree. We're more in numbers, but they've got a socioeconomic foundation and floor that we don't have.
Yes, sir. Brother, my follow-up question, because when you mentioned our useless Black Caucus, you did it. When you said that, it kind of paralleled last week's program when you was talking about Sheila Jackson Lee. Well, brother, she won. What is your prediction now on how she's going to behave towards the Democratic Party and the so-called Black Caucus?
A little bit sassy, a little unclassy. She's going to make a little trouble. She's going to talk back a little bit. And then they're going to remind her, you don't really want us to drill down on you. You don't really want us to make a priority of this, because then we'll just run against you for the next 2 years. So I suspect she's going to bark back and be a little, well, I said that before. She's going to be a little sassy. She's going to bark back a little bit. If she were smart,
Yes,
she'd
sir.
cause some major trouble. But I don't see her having that in her. I don't see her having it in her. She's only going to make she's going to make a few wisecracks somewhere. She's going to be a little bit salty. And then she's going to fall back in line because that's her character, that's her personality, and that's who she is.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. B1 Big Brother, thank you for tonight's broadcast.
B1 Brother, thank you very much for giving us a call tonight here. Yeah, like I said, I mean, she's not going to make any waves. She doesn't have any power to be able to do so. So she'll make a few sassy, snide comments, and that'll be the end of that. That'll be the end of that. Let me get caller from area code 516. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
What's up, brother Jason? This is Adam, Queens, New York.
All right, Adam and Queens, what's on your mind?
Of course, this reparations thing is always a hot subject. White people's favorite saying to us is, we all know, well, we didn't own any slaves. Well, that's cool. But 1950s and 60s weren't that too long ago. Now, everybody got reparations for everything in the world that was done to them. The U.S. government directly discriminated against us, kept us out of housing, financial situations, the whole nine. So what is there? And they never really have an answer for that. So this is just laughable at this point. Like, what are we going to do? We have to do something in order to get our reparations at this point.
Well, the first order of business is you don't go along with the status quo. You don't go along to get along. You don't pretend that you're okay. So the first order of business is you drop out of the political process unless black empowerment is on the ballot where you are. Unless that's the case, you don't fool with it. What we have done has scared them more than anything else because we're like, you know what? Yeah, we're done with that. And now they're trying all the scare tactics they can. And what they're terrified of right now is that that's not going to work this time. It isn't going to work. That's why they're so desperate to bring in as many illegals as they can, because they can already see things are softening. The next generation of black people is not like the civil rights generation was. The next generation, even those of us who are around middle age, they don't have that rock solid support anymore. None of us look longingly on FDR or JFK or Jimmy Carter. None of us are sitting here looking at any of them like White Daddy. None of us are looking at them as, well, he wasn't like the rest of them white folks. He was good. None of us look at them like that. We don't consider that to be an accolade. That's what you're supposed to do. The difference between us and the civil rights generation is treating us humanely. That's not no damn extra. That's what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to get a pat on the head and a damn parade for that. That's what you're supposed to do. And there's the radical difference. You see, when Joe Biden speaks to them old niggas, what happens is when he speaks to them, they consider any nice thing he says to be a charity and a gift. Ooh, boy, I'm winning big today. Well, I got Joe Biden to give me a compliment. I'm doing good. What the hell are you talking about? They're supposed to do that. So in their minds, the stuff they're supposed to get is a gift. In our minds, what he's doing ain't even nearly enough. It's like, dude, that you're supposed to do that. I'm not giving you some accolade for something you're supposed to do. What else did you bring me? You're not supposed to be telling illegal aliens, we need to speak with them with respect. You don't have to respect trespassers. That's not the way that works. But take a look at what he's doing. While they're telling you and me, you should be glad we did it right here. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller from area code 469. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
It's Thomas calling from Dallas.
Thomas from Dallas, what's on your mind?
Oh, man, Jason, I had to call in tonight, man. Trump sat up there and said, rest in peace to me. Man, that was the coldest thing you could say to somebody on the stage, man, is to rest in peace and you out of here. He's proven, here's one thing I can say about him, man, that we can learn about Trump. White supremacists is always going to come back around and eat their enemies, man. And that's something black people need to learn, how to eat their enemies and never give up on your enemies. And if you got enemies on the other side, you got to eat them and spit them out. That's what Trump is doing. And I'm not voting for that clown, but I'm going to love to see him in office just going after all his enemies.
I mean,
that's what's
look,
going to happen, man.
You got to respect the way that they handle business. You got to respect that. I didn't say you got to vote for them, but you got to respect when somebody is actually handling their business correctly, even if they're on the opposing team. You got to respect that. And so Trump is definitely showing you, it's like, hey, wait a minute. It's, anybody and everybody who's a problem, I'm putting them on Front Street. I'm putting them on the spotlight. Anybody who's a problem, anybody who's been a problem. He's not waiting until later for them to stab him in the back twice. He ain't waiting on that. He's like, you only get one chance to do that. And you don't get to circle back around. You get one chance to do that. Everybody else who was running in the primaries and stuff, he's going to stomp you out because he got to stomp you out. All the little commentators and the media people and the reporters, the reason why they are particularly pernicious, look it up. The reason why they are particularly destructive is because they're not like politicians. Megyn Kelly doesn't have to be elected by anybody except whoever will employ her for a job or her internet audience. But she doesn't have to be elected. So she can come on all day, every day, and she occupies that seat. It's not the White House, but she got that one. Trump has learned why that can be an insidious thing. And so what he's doing now is he's basically training his audience, hey, we ain't got any friends in the media. He's letting them know that. And he's not letting somebody else tell them, he's saying it. We don't have any friends in the media. We don't have any. And that's why he's calling out Megyn Kelly. Eventually, he's going to throw a few jabs at Fox, too, if he hasn't already, to remind his audience, yeah, we don't have any friends in the media. We don't have any. The only friend you got is me. I'm the one you look to. You don't look to the commentators. You don't look to the cable TV networks. You don't look to pundits on the internet. It comes straight from the top. So in reality, that is very strong, very stern, very firm messaging. He's taking the reins and the control, and he's saying, if you didn't hear it from me, it ain't legit. So you got to respect that. You got to respect that. One more thing. While Joe Biden is sitting up here, I shouldn't have said that. When's the last damn time you heard Trump say something like that? When's the last time you heard Trump say, I shouldn't have said that? Because all that does is connote weakness. Joe Biden is bowing to folks who aren't even citizens, and Donald Trump won't apologize to the Central Park Five.
What's what you taught us back? You've been teaching it for the longest. When you say power respects power, and one thing about white supremacy, they're never going to give up on trying to subjugate us. So what we got to do the same thing as black people is never give up. Because I had a chance to meet Johnny Cochran back in '96. Man, that dude was powerful, man. I mean, he gave a good speech down in Oklahoma at the college down there, and man, that man was powerful. I mean, everything he did was about power, and black folks got to stand on. If we say we're gonna stand on business, then you better believe what you're standing on, and you got to execute that thing to where it's power, and people are gonna only respect you if you're putting out power, not what these clowns are doing now, man. I mean, these black people out here are so weak, man. Like you said, these old niggas. You need to make a song about that, man. I know you can. I mean, the tune that you hit, yeah, because it's you got the young folks coming up looking at these old folks like, man, y'all so weak it don't even make sense.
Well, Johnny Cochran was born in Shreveport, Louisiana. So my city has a special pedigree in this regard. We've always had a special vision and a special insight and pedigree in this regard. But man, like I say, we got to have more of that. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. My city has always been a special place in that regard. We've always had a special insight in that regard. You know, a lot of the folks who showboat and whatnot come from South Louisiana. Here in North Louisiana, we've always had a special insight into that. But yeah, like I say, I mean, Trump, even if you don't like him, the bottom line is you can respect him because he doesn't strike you as disingenuous. He might strike you as offensive, but he doesn't strike you as dishonest. Joe Biden, Joe Biden looks like he lied to himself in the mirror today. Are we awake? We sure are. Okay. Caller from area code 415. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello, this is Denise in San Francisco.
Okay, Denise in San Francisco. What's on your mind?
I want to say three things. I thought it was interesting, the program about the Native America, because I was just sitting here thinking about moving out of California, getting a simple building in a cheaper state, and try to start the motion to get a genealogy society in place for the descendants of the slaves. Now, right now, we got all these people who are doing nothing for reparations. They're fighting against reparations. But as soon as reparations is to be paid out, watch how many people from all over the globe of every nation going to be trying to claim their descendants of the slaves. The second thing I want to say is, back in the early 2000s, I was at a reparation function, and there was two black lawyers there, and I spoke to one of them. She said that they cannot file lawsuits for reparations against the government because the government does not allow itself to be sued. I just looked at her and walked away. I said, oh, ain't that going to happen to her. Okay, another black man said, meet me in downtown Oakland, California. I'll be at a lawyer's office down there, and I'm fighting for reparations. I said, okay. As sick as I was, I crawled over there. I got to downtown Oakland, California. The man was senile, and he couldn't get his family, his wife, his two sons, or anybody to get behind him on the reparation ideal. And as far as the lawyer, we met at the lawyer's office, who he was affiliated with, but the lawyer wasn't there. And the lawyer was not interested in reparations. And I said to myself, what in the world is all this? And I'm saying all that to say this. Yes, we need some type of genealogy society, because I believe reparations is eventually going to be paid out and everybody's going to be trying to claim their descendants. And also, I don't know what the world is wrong with these black lawyers. I've dealt with them on many issues. And most of them want to go, like you said, to accident cases. They don't seem to want to get up and say, okay, we're going to organize and take on fights for black people. I don't know what's happening with the NAACP. They're another planet. So I agree with it. We got to get black lawyers on board, and we just do something to establish our genealogy.
Well, definitely, as far as genealogy is concerned, that's an important thing, because our ability to disqualify people is a very important thing. Our ability to disqualify people and say, no, you're not allowed. That's a very important thing. That's a very important thing. And because you're going to have a lot of folks sit up here and they'll be talking garbage about it. But they're those are the folks we want to make sure are X'd out, because that's power. Power is your ability to say, no, we've decided you can't be. I want to extend it very, very plainly that lineage is not enough. I've always said that, genetics, phenotype, and identity. As far as I'm concerned, if we can prove that you've been on social media with a foreign flag, there go your credentials. I am serious. It's like, okay, you talking about, well, I'm part black. No, not according to your social media, you're not. According to your social media, you're Haitian. According to your social media, you're Jamaican. According to your social media, you're Puerto Rican. According to your social media, you're Dominican. According to your social media, you're Mexican. According to your social media, you're Nigerian. So you've been representing yourself. You've shown what your identity is. So just like we say, have you ever documented somewhere that you are something other than one of us? Well, according to your social media, you did. Well, you had that up there every day. So as far as I'm concerned, it's like, if you have a hearing for that, people should be able to say, okay, I know this person, and actually they have represented themselves as something other than us. It's like, oh, okay, well, there goes yours. Oh, well, no, I was young. Well, you have the rest of your life to think it over. Huh? You have the rest of your life to think it over. And what I'm saying is that's what the Native Americans are doing. What do you think establishing genealogy means? That's what they're doing. They're establishing who they're going to cut out. Hell, you saw the so-called 5 civilized tribes do that to us after all these decades. Not worried about the white folk. Not worried about them going specifically after us. Oh, they serious as hell. They're serious as hell. Now, as far as suing the federal government, I don't know what lawyers you spoke to in that regard, but I'll just let that speak for itself because you can sue the federal government. Now,
that's right.
Now, it is not akin to suing anybody else. No, it's not. But yeah, if you met a lawyer who told you you can't sue the federal government, thank them for exposing their ignorance and turn around and leave. Because this is a lawyer who is too stupid to represent you. They're too dumb to represent you. So you need to go get somebody who actually can. But this lawyer is too dumb to represent you. You can't have it. So if it just rolled off his tongue, you can't sue the federal government. It's like, okay, let me go find somebody with some sense. Because you just exposed, yeah, that's not going to work. I'll let you have the last word.
Yes, I agree with you. When that woman told me that, I said to myself, ain't no need talking to that woman. Might as well leave her alone. And like I said, as for the lawyer's office I met with in downtown Oakland, I don't know where that man was. He definitely wasn't interested in reparations. But, hey, I'm so thankful you younger generation of people are starting to see the light and still want to put the fight forward to get and establish your reparations, and I'm with you. I told some man the other day, if I don't get a single penny out of reparations, I'm putting the fight forward for reparations the best I can with whatever limited resources I got for the next generation.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Y'all got to understand, see, this is why over the last 15 years, I've spoken to young people, and it's been important that we talk to them because I want you all to get it through your heads here. Most of the old folk, man, they ain't trying to hear this. Nothing we talking about. Let me just go ahead and lay the real on you. You talking to somebody who's 70 or 80 years old, man, they sitting there talking about, I got more years behind me than I do in front of me. How's reparations gonna help me? They're not, as a group, they're not thinking about the kids or the grandkids. They think about their damn selves. Well, what's reparations supposed to do for me at 75 or 80 years old? What am I supposed to do with that? You think you're going to shift their thinking to change their minds? You kidding me, man? You think that's going to happen? No, that's why we're talking to folk who are way younger here because they get it. I'm just letting y'all know the old folks, for the most part, are checked out, dude. They checked out. They're done. They're already predisposed against it because they're like, what's in it for me? So you're going to have to be in it for yourself here because they're done with that. And the lawyer class is trying to figure out how to get the corporations to give them something. This is where we at today. Caller from area code 206, you're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, good evening. This is Agnes calling from Seattle, Washington.
Agnes from Seattle, what's on your mind?
Hi, excellent podcast. You hit the issue squarely. The Black leadership class full of lawyers and politicians who are not standing on business one bit. I live in a city where the mayor is a Black politician. He's also a lawyer, a corporate lawyer at that. His loyalties lie strictly with corporations. Even though he claims Black heritage, he tends to side with the Asians more than Blacks, but he's made his stance perfectly clear, especially with the few people left in this, Black folks left in the Seattle area. He's not going to listen to our concerns, period, in a discussion. He's part of the Black lawyer class and Black leadership class who have completely turned their backs on everything Black. And it's a good thing that you brought up the point about the economic floor, which is true. All of the other groups have a guaranteed economic floor. When you come to Seattle and the surrounding areas, you can see that even the illegals have a government guarantee of an economic floor. It's just only the black folks you see around here that literally have nothing. A study came out from 2023 that said the average wealth of black Seattleites, you ready for this? Net wealth, $29. How can that be? And you've got all of these so-called doctors, lawyers, and so on and so forth, because people don't care and don't want to reinvest. And that goes back to the folks in the leadership class. They're not putting back in what they're taking out. And they're actually glad not to even associate or be around other black folks.
You know, whether you're talking about, Seattle proper, whether you're talking about Kent, I've been around a few areas up there in the Seattle area. Whether you're talking about there, I'm trying to remember all the names necessarily here. I can remember Kent. I can remember Fremont, I think.
Renton.
Renton, thank you. Heading out towards SeaTac. Heading out there.
Tequila.
And, one of the things in particular is that you'll see what you're referring to, Agnes, for folk who haven't been there and stuff. So when you go to downtown Seattle, when you get off the freeway, and you all might recognize some of Seattle from the 8 a.m. trailer. When you're getting off the freeway there and you're going into downtown, you see the Asians going around. You see the white folk going around. That's fine. Where you start seeing is black folk milling around. Now that's the thing that you really notice. So I noticed that there. I noticed that out in Kent. I noticed that out in Burien. I noticed that was the thing I noticed. And I'm like, yeah, that because it reminded me of Philadelphia. It reminded me of Philadelphia. That reminded me of Philadelphia on Roosevelt. Reminded me of Philadelphia on Front Street, Broad Street. It reminds me of Philadelphia there. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. And so, everybody else, you can see they got theirs. And once again, the reason why I bring up the Seattle-Tacoma International Airport is because when you go there, I'm just saying, that's like being in San Francisco at the airport there. It's nothing but Asians. Nothing wrong with being Asian, but I'm saying, by the way, every flight got Asians getting off of it? Every flight? Every taxi cab, every Uber, every folks in front of me, we were really the only non-Asians there that day. The place was packed. We were the only ones there that day. And what I'm saying is, if that's not evidence of an economic floor, I don't know what the hell is.
Right. Well, you have to keep in mind that most of your direct flights to Asia come out of SeaTac, period, in a discussion. Also, the businesses that are owned and operated, name the Asian country, they have it, because the minority business grants go first and foremost to the Asians. So, of course, Asians are going to use their contracts and contacts to bring in more Asian-owned businesses. And it's a good thing that you brought up SeaTac, because the juxtaposition of that is SeaTac, the city itself, is where most of the blacks immigrants have been segregated. Everybody from East Africa and the Horn of Africa was pushed out and down into the SeaTac area, mainly because they created a caste system for the lower end, lower wage jobs.
Round the space needle. Around that space needle. Now, I actually got out and walked around down there because, who can't be a tourist if you're going to go to Seattle? But plus it's easier that, like, if you're from Seattle, there's a bunch of one lane streets there, one lane and just two lane streets. There's not a lot of four lane when you get on that side. Back over there where you get off the freeway, folks talk about Federal Highway. I don't know if that's the name of it or not, but when you're getting off the freeway over there, that's like 4 or 6 lanes going through there. But over there where the Space Needle is, it's mostly 2-lane streets there. It's mostly 2-lane streets, which is really kind of weird to see, but I guess they're just gonna leave it the way it is. But yeah, by the way, I noticed, look, that's the thing I noticed in Detroit, in Philadelphia, and I know it when I see it, where people are basically, they're basically squatters in their own city. You see them milling around.
Absolutely.
You see the white folk and the Asians and whatnot, they're going around places, they spending money. You see the black folk just kind of wandering. And that, it becomes very, very clear who's got an economic floor and who doesn't. I'll let you have the last word.
Yes, indeed. I'm glad that you brought up the Space Needle area called Queen Anne. Ironically, that area about that mid-century, we're talking about the 50s and 60s, that was a strong black area, okay? And as with urban renewal, gentrification, they put the Space Needle up there to get all of those property owners.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I've never had an opportunity to research that area specifically. Even being in Louisiana, we all remember when they were building all that stuff there, and after it was done, it was certainly a technological architectural marvel. But the reason why I brought that up, and I guess you can figure that out, I couldn't help but notice there's wooden houses over there, and you can see a lot of older construction. So there are wooden houses and older construction in 2-lane streets. So in many ways, that's why I was saying it kind of reminds you of San Francisco. But thank you for elucidating us on that, because that was the reason I brought it up, is because I'm like, there's a lot of 2-lane streets and a lot of wooden houses in that area. But of course, they're not long for this world. Obviously, you can see with all the construction going on down there, you're not going to be here very long. Or in the next 25 years, I expect all that to be gone.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Won't even be that long. Thank you very much. Excellent broadcast. B1.
B1 Sister, thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Like I said, man, I've traveled so many places. I've seen a lot. It can be, and then there are places I have not been in a while. I haven't been to Seattle. I haven't been to Seattle in probably about 5 or 6 years. I haven't been to Seattle. So it's been a minute since I've been there. And so actually, no, I've been there. No, I did go I did go in 2020. I did go in 2020 when we were doing 8 a.m. So I did go then. In the chat room, I did go through Lakewood, but that was only on my way out of the city to go down to Los Angeles. So I didn't get to actually stop in Lakewood. I drove through Lakewood on my way down to Los Angeles, but I didn't actually get to get out. But Kent, Burry, and some of the other areas there, I did get to go take a look through there. I did get to have a chance to go look around. I try to do as much sightseeing as I can, and you know me, I'm gonna try to go on the good side, the so-called bad side. I'm gonna try to take it as much as I can. But yeah, for those of you who haven't been over there where the Space Needle is, you can see the Space Needle clearly from the freeway, but over there where it is, I'm like, I couldn't help but notice, this is older construction. Couldn't help but notice that. Also couldn't help but notice, you won't be here much longer. Caller from area code 951, you're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is the Church of Black Power out of Houston.
The Church of Black Power out of Houston. What's on your mind?
Well, Jason, I really appreciate you doing this broadcast tonight. Always on point. About 2 Fridays ago, Sheila Jackson Lee came to my college. I attend TSU. And she bought about $50 million for environmental issues and climate issues or something like that to one of the departments at the school. So they had this ceremony with the news there and everything. And when I tell you, when you talk about these old niggas showed up and showed out, got mad at me because while she was sitting there talking about all of the things that she's doing, because this was right before she got reelected, all the things that she was doing to bring things to the community, I started pressing her in front of everybody in the camera about reparations, about a black hate crime. I even, after it was over, I told all of them, because House Whip was there, Catherine Clark, my representative, Ron Reynolds, was there, Senator Boris. So I told all of them, if you guys do not bring reparations and the transformative Black agenda, you guys will lose. The only people that can put you guys back in the White House is Black Americans, nobody else. So at this point, the councilwoman, she tried to shush me. And I had to swing. I let her know, one, I'm here representing the Black grassroots. You are not. You don't shush me. I shush you. And so after which, I was able to get Sheila Jackson Lee to answer the question on reparations. And when I say she babbled. I had her stuttering because she tried to make it about the bill. And I told her, no, ma'am, you guys, everyone else is getting funding, getting policy, and no studies are needed or anything like that. The senator came and whisked her away like they were going on vacation. Then I caught up with Ron Reynolds right after, and then he tried to tell me, well, reparations, I do believe in reparations, but this is coming from a grant and this, and I pressed him. I said, well, why don't we have grants like this going directly to Black Americans in order to fix this systemic situations that's going on due to you guys?
Good question.
And when I say this dude disappeared like Houdini, he disappeared like Houdini. He pretended he had to answer a call. Someone else asked me a question about reparations, so I started to talk to them about it. I turned around and everybody in the DNC was gone.
Like Batman, huh? You turn around for just a second,
like
you turn back around, where you go?
Now, Jason, I want to send you the footage because I knew for a fact they probably wasn't going to put what I was doing on the news, even though the news was there. But that's why I also took footage for myself so I can spread it out to our people, because the truth of the matter is this: they'll sit here and play and act as if, oh, I'm for it. The second they get pressed at any moment, woo, that moose, they're gone.
Okay, well, I want you to do, if you have a YouTube channel, just go ahead and upload it there, and you can just email the link to me.
Okay, is it the Black Authority at AOL?
No, Lord. The Black Authority at yahoo.com, AOL. Anyway, no,
I'm sorry.
Black Authority at yahoo.com. But if you do, just upload it to YouTube and send me the link there. We can check it out for you. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. And like I say, I mean, that's good. You know, y'all want to show up at these events, and definitely when the folks start getting those kind of questions, they don't want to be on camera giving an answer at all. So what they're letting you know is the DNC strategy is still at work. They are still operating under the Democrat WikiLeaks. If Black folk ask you questions, don't answer. Tell them you understand. Tell them you agree. But do not make any specific promises. You our house niggas, and we're not going to do anything. So what you can do is you can pat them on the hand and you can tell them, well, I agree. And, well, you know, that's okay. And, you know, I think that's a good thing. But when you start dissecting the arguments against why you haven't gone ahead and cut the check, don't make any specific promises. Do not make them any specific promises, because you'll be held to it. But worse, they'll expect you to hold us to it. The whole reason why they advise the Democrats not to give any specific promises, not just because we would hold that politician to it if they said it, but also because they know we would hold the party to it. So if the politician tells us, yes, I'm all for it, let's get this done, and then the party starts pushing back and balking and delaying, well, you end up in this situation right now. You end up where they are right now, with us not looking at Sheila Jackson Lee. Of course, we're looking at her. We're looking at Joe Biden. We're looking at her boss. We're looking at people at the top and saying, oh, you're the problem. Yeah, the so-called lower politicians tell us everything's okay, and yet nothing's gotten done. What that obviously means is you are the problem. Caller from area code 908, you're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
I think that you concentrate on those kind of things, maybe we'll get more done. Unified voting, get that accomplished. About the boycott.
Okay, he is currently in the process of intellectually planning the revolution. So I would not want to get in his way of that in any regard here. Let me see if we can try something else here. Because right now we got 4,300 people in here live right now. That's really good for us to have. That's really good for us to have here because that means they care. Very, very important. I want to thank all of you for showing up here tonight also. Let me see if we can try something a little bit different. If what you were doing back then hadn't been illegal, how rich would you be today?
My God, I probably would be the richest man in the country. I probably would be richer than Jeff Bezos.
Why are black people the poorest people in the world?
Well, for the first thing that I would start off with is that we are the only people that ever came over here in handcuffs.
So how do we deal with that?
We got to break those chains off our minds. My goal in life is to demonstrate that the same skills that I use in the drug business, had I been taught by somebody else instead of a drug dealer, that I could have did anything.
We've grown up in a sea of white supremacy. I think that what slavery did for us is it created this sense that the white man's ice is colder and that we want to have a seat at that table and not a seat at our own table.
At LSU, we never had a conversation about the business of sports, about the money that's made. They don't want to have that conversation because you have that conversation, that's what creates movements.
Most people are miserable. They're depressed. They hate their life. Why do people hate their life? Because they're doing things they hate. Because they feel like they're scared they can't pay a bill.
George Soros probably said it the best, and he said that when he was broke, nobody listened to him, but when he broke the banks over in Europe, he was able to start talking to the heads of state.
Are you listening? Is this thing on?
Let me tell you about the record industry. You walk into a major company, they got some of the prettiest women. You want some Perrier, you want some water. What do you need? Once they got you, it's just like that. What have you done for me lately?
A lot of those athletes in college, 99% of them will not make it to that high level NBA, WNBA, NFL.
If an artist is not a puppet, he's not going to be pulled to the top. It's the bottom line.
Friends is friends and business is business. Never intertwining.
Doing it like nobody else in 2024 and beyond. You are welcome to join us. Just a brief reminder that the crowdfunding is now open. So all of you who have contributed, thank you very much for your support. We appreciate that. All of you who are yet to contribute, the link is in the description. My mods have also put it in the chat room there, so you are welcome to join us here. The crowdfunding is going very well. I want to thank you all for your support with this. Thank you very much for that as well. We're going to go ahead and get back over here on the telephone lines. Let me get caller from area code 214. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, Jason. I appreciate all you've done for us. But I wanted to remind...
That's great. What is your name?
Oh, I'm sorry, dear. Pamela, and I'm calling from Las Colinas, Irving.
Pamela from Las Colinas, Irving, Texas. Just look for all the horses. And what is on your mind?
Yes, dear. I just wanted to remind everyone that And with the direction of Tariq, us SBA and B1 went to OMB and also Census, USA Census Bureau. And as of March 2022, we're now classified as indigenous to North and South America, including, which is a shocking thing, they say we are the original Alaskan Eskimos as well, and we're American Indians. So our classification is actually been changed. So as American Indian, just like Dr. Claude Anderson, he's suing the Native tribes. If we are now classified as of 2022 to get reparations, including the national debt, which is what is owed. That's why they never want to raise the debt under the ADRIP and UNDRIP.
Well, I'm not
And
so sure.
all
I would have to check into that now because I hadn't heard anything like that. So
USA Census.gov and then OMB, which is the Office of Management and Budget.
Right. Well, definitely. I don't know if I want us. I don't know if I want us classified as Native Americans or Alaskans. Not so sure I want that.
They don't call us a Native American. They call us an Indigenous American Indian, which is the Indian Civil Rights Act, which is the same Civil Rights Act that Martin. So if you look at Martin Luther King's Civil Rights Act, it says Civil Rights Act, and then it also say Indian Civil Rights Act, also known as Indian. He also put it in Indian Anti-Hate Bill.
Well,
he got killed after
definitely, that. Definitely, I would like to see changes made to it. As you're aware, though, I would have consternation about something that connects us to anything having to do. I like a new name classification for it, to update that. To be totally honest with you, for one reason. Because once we have a classification that's so close to everybody else, I think that makes it easier for them. That's the only thing that concerns me about that. Is okay.
Yeah.
How do you conclusively, definitively keep these other folks out? Because even though it would be absolute madness, here comes Rachel Dolezal. And then you're just sitting in a quagmire.
That's what Tariq and Dr. Claude Anderson was. Remember when Tariq didn't want to use Native and Dr. Anderson wanted to use.
Right.
So
There's a reason. There's a reason for that in particular.
Right.
However, I think it's something for us to keep watching. It'll be a little while before that comes through. You got an echo coming through on your phone, but thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Certainly is something to keep in mind. These names and whatnot certainly mean something there. So I'd be interested to see how that goes there, because I'll be interested to see how that goes. The vernacular and the nomenclature is very important in that regard, because we've seen that words are how they manipulate things. They make you think it's going to mean one thing, and then it's like, okay, here comes the trick bag for it. So the thing that I do like about a new naming genre is that it's something that's defined by us, and it's not something brought to you by them. Because when you talk about Dr. King and whatnot, remember, they also brought us civil rights. Remember, when it comes to Dr. King, by the way, if you're going to refer to something that Dr. King was pushing, by the way, remember with Dr. King, they also brought us civil rights. They brought us civil rights, and take a look at what they did with that. I think DOS, Friedman, FBA, that's perfectly fine, because those are things that we defined, and we have rigidly, firmly defined them. The rest of those things, like I say, just I admonish everybody, be careful. Be careful. If they use that language before and they're bringing it back to you, be careful, because they may have an ulterior motive. It's like, okay, well, we see how we can slip in the trick bag, which is essentially you put all your strength in the back of that, and then next thing you know, I got you, nigga. And next thing you know, we redefined this for you. Well, see, this is the definitions always had, as opposed to one that we've made ourselves and said, okay, this is what it is. So keep your eyes and your ears open. I think it's worth following. Let me get caller from area code 770. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Jason. I'm Nathan, and I'm from Atlanta, but currently I'm in Monterrey, Mexico right now. living here in Atlanta. But I'm just calling in just to let you know, like, it's the real big issue going on right now that's a threat to Black America is the border crisis and the immigrants coming over. Like, I travel across the border like 20 times, different methods. About 6 months ago, I was on a plane, and 80% of the passengers on the plane were immigrants. They had free airline tickets and things like that. So they're flooding in, and the people here, you know, I started to realize that the colonization has a big impact here in all Latin America. The people with the most money are pretty much white Europeans here, and they already are okay with that type of system. So when they come to the United States, they're like, yes, man. They're already going to not challenge the system. So when we was talking about reparations, you know, years ago, when Biden got elected, the response from him and his, or, you know, and the people, and the big response was, well, we're just going to bring in all these people, and it's going to be enough of them and those people issues to drown us out. And people, we have to realize that it's not just Biden. It's the people who work for the government, the FBI, the CIA. They all have these, you know, think groups and tactics for us not to get certain things. And, you know, that's the biggest crisis I'm seeing right now. And also, too, if the people come over as a refugee, they're getting the benefits and the credit from our country. And also here, they're getting the credit, the banking businesses here. So they're getting, like, the money from the United States and starting businesses here, because I see it every day. They open up whatever type of business, get money. They have a business in the United States. And the Black Americans can't not compete with a person, you know, taking your job. And also, they have fake Social Security numbers. The girl who just killed the person in Atlanta, he had a fake green card. You know, so they're taking your job. It is a lot, you know, so that's the threat I'm seeing right now when it comes to the issue.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight, brother, here. Let me go ahead and land this plane for him here. But folks, we're running a little bit short on time here, so please keep your comments brief. Let me get caller from area code 415. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello, Carl. This is Marcus calls from San Francisco.
All right, Marcus from San Francisco. What's on your mind?
Hey, I just have a quick question for you. What do you think about the Black Masons and the Eastern Stars, and, you know, as far as what they have done or could do for the community, or what, or are they any good for us, or what are your thoughts on?
What do I think of the Eastern Stars and all that bunch? Not very much, and not very often. They've had a century now to do anything of substance. You had all these people who were really what you thought they were doing was you thought they were fighting for Black empowerment, but what you find out later is they were really just fighting for a better place for themselves as individuals, and then maybe as their small little clique. And that really worked 50, 60 years ago, but only at an individual level. So maybe there was some benefit to them 70, 80 years ago or whatever. There's no benefit to them now. They have no reason to exist as far as any type of benefit to Black society. They don't have a reason to exist anymore. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Let me get caller from area code 510. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, my name is Oakland. Hi, Jason. How you doing?
Okay, your name is Oakland?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Okay, and Oakland is calling us from where?
I'm calling is because
okay, Oakland is calling us from where?
I'm calling you from Los Angeles.
Okay, Oakland is calling us from Los Angeles. And what is on your mind, Oakland?
Okay, so this is for Joe Biden. I wanted to give him a message, and I want to let all the people know that don't want their reparations. If they don't want their blessings, they can give them to me, because I need my reparations in cash payment. That's all.
Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight.
Boy, what in the hell's the matter with you?
All right, she's already getting ready to celebrate. She's already getting ready to turn up with her reparations. Yeah, she said, look, I'm already getting to the kicky spot with mine.
Auntie, chill!
Yes, sir. She said, deliver my reparations so I can get turned up. She's like, I need it, and I want it, and I'm gonna have it. Baby, don't go take out that loan just yet. Hold off just a little bit longer. Don't go running to the check cashing place just yet. She sound like she the kind to go to Kroger's, and if she didn't have enough money at the checkout register, when I get my reparation check, I'm firing all of y'all, including that heifer over there. I'm firing every single one of y'all up in here. So yeah, she sound like she might be one of them. It's just, wait till I get mine. I'm firing all of y'all. I'm buying the whole building and firing every last one of you. So, folks, don't do that just yet. Don't do that. Don't do that. Just hold on. Call from area code 559. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
What's up, man? It's Terrence. I'm out here in Fresno, but I'm originally from Los Angeles.
All right, Terrence from Fresno. What's on your mind?
Okay, here's what's going on. I came up here to go to college some years ago, and one night I went to a bar with some friends. Long story short, there was a cat after the bar, a couple hours. My homeboys was like, we're going to go back to one of our friends' house. The dude looked like a Mexican. Come to find out, they said he's a native. We go back to the guy's house. I've never seen nothing like this. We go back to the guy's house. He has a fat Escalade truck, 2 Harley Davidsons. His house he had about a 6 or 7 bedroom house, big old pretty house, suburban neighborhood. We go inside. I'm trying to see. He looked like just a dusty dude. Yeah, long hair, clothes, wasn't all that. But the dude, apparently all this stuff was his. We go in the house. I asked my homeboys. I said, what does this cat do? Oh, he's a native. He don't got to do nothing. All he got to do is walk to the mailbox every month. He get a check for $38,000 every month. I couldn't believe it. I land my plane with that.
Now let that speak for itself. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. He's like, yeah, just what I got to do anything for. Let them Negroes work. Call from area code 704. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
What's good, Jason? This is Ty from Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm right here in the heart of Alabama, Montgomery. I'm noticing that tonight's subject is about American Indians, and what I find to believe is that we already have the indigenous names, such as Gullah Geechee, it's Gwale Ogeechee. We got Tuskegee down here. Why would we call ourselves an indigenous name from here? What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, certainly there are certain groups out there. Marcel Dixon has talked about that and whatnot. So certainly that is certainly something that is worth investigating. You know this with the Native Americans here, guys, especially in Houma, Louisiana. Okay, bro? Slow down, dude. The host is talking. My caller's not getting lit early. What they say, spring forward, fall back. What the Native Americans have done is they didn't just sit up here and choose a name, so we can't be one-track minded or single-celled about it. Yeah, you can choose a name. That's great. Then you're also going to have a legal basis for it, and you're also going to have documentation for it too. So what you're saying is one thing, sure. The name is not nearly as important as what are you going to do to enforce the validity of your claim. That's the most important part.
Gotcha. So we have people that's out there that are Black Americans that have Fed recognition, such as Siku, Hidden Eagle, Hajo.
Okay, well, slow down. Okay, sir, slow down. Here's the issue, though. Where are their attorneys at?
Oh, they have attorneys, bro.
Okay. So you're saying that they've already filed a case and got their congressman on it? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
They're on. They're in City Hall. They're actually They have things that already is put in place.
Sir, because the Houma Indians and whatnot, they're not at City Hall. They're with the United States Congressman, not City Hall. So I think I found where you stumbled. They're not in front of not in front of City Hall. They're with the Congressman.
Yeah, they are. They actually are working to get our restitutions for those that can trace their lineage back to like the Yamasee, the Oconee, the Hichiti, the Seminole.
Okay. Well, definitely, if they make some headway on that, let us know. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. If they make any headway, let us know. So, see how that goes. Caller from area code 301. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello. My name is Charles, calling from D.C.
Charles from D.C., what's on your mind?
Yeah, and I want to say that the reparations is one of the most important fights out here. And the thing is that we seem to forget how damaging it is. Because I just found out, and this must be new for like a lot of people, is that you have, believe it or not, you have, there was, like I found out that like in I'm close to DC, that over in Dulles Airport, they paved over a black village, a black neighborhood to get to that. It was from 1850 to 1958, a thriving black neighborhood, and now it's just Dulles Airport. How many people know about this?
I mean, brother, that's actually a very common thing here in Shreveport Regional Airport. That used to be a black neighborhood. They dropped the whole damn airport on top of it. DFW to a lesser extent there. When you talk about Seneca Village, so yeah, that's actually been a very common practice where they couldn't run a freeway through. When take a look at where a lot of these airports are and whatnot, and you'll see that where they chose that is like, oh, this is where the cheap land was. No, that's where the Negroes were. So that's actually been a pretty long-held practice, actually.
Oh yeah, and my worry is that most of the young folk, and most people my age don't even know this. It's like the knowledge has been just sucked away, and just put in like little boxes or whatever, and we just have to keep digging and digging to find this stuff. And I'm thankful to black media to put this stuff out there.
Well, here's the real issue.
We didn't have this information.
The real issue is not finding it out. I mean, certainly that's important, but if we find it out and then nothing is done with it, then you're right back where the civil rights generation was when all these things happened. Yes. So yeah, they did it with the civil rights, post-World War II and civil rights generation. They just sat there looking at it with their mouths agape and then let it go on there. So even if we dig up the information and whatnot, the thing is, okay, if you're digging it up, that's good that you know, but that's just the first step. The next step is, okay, now that you know this, what do you do with it? Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight, which is why I've always advocated for reparations across the board. When you see that they put government policies in place for the specific purpose of targeting us. If we can't drop a freeway on you, we'll drop a airport on you. If we can't drop an airport on you, we'll drop a bus station on you. If we can't drop a bus station on you, we'll confiscate the land. We'll make a park. We'll do anything. We'll Bruce's beat you. We'll do the whole 9 yards. So keep in mind, this is an ongoing thing. So when Jason talks about reparations across the board, this is the reason I talk about that. Caller from area code 929. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi. My name's Ralph, Yonkers, New York.
All right, Ralph out of Yonkers, what's on your mind?
Hi, I've been listening to you for quite some time, and I definitely admire your work. And what I'd like to know is that it's kind of difficult for me to ascertain, but I've been trying to figure out, sir, are you an activist or an entertainer?
It doesn't matter. What are you going to do with the information?
Well, it would help for me to know who I need to fund and what your goals are, sir. Because if your goals are merely to entertain, that's one thing. But if your goals are being an activist, then I need a track record of that.
Okay, sir.
So that I
sir,
can
if you watch Jon Stewart, he's an entertainer, but he's got political commentary. Personally, I don't care what you back, and I don't care what you believe. So if you think I'm an entertainer, go with that. If you think I'm an activist, go with that. Sir, if you've been listening to me for a while, you've already seen everything you need to see. So if that's not good enough for you to make a determination, then that doesn't matter. Sir, I have a whole 15-year library of programs you can go over, and then you can determine if I'm worthy of whatever it is.
Here now.
But
Why
sir,
can't you answer the question, sir?
I just answered your question for the last time. I don't care what you think. Do whatever you want to do. I'm not here to prove anything to some stranger. Sir, I don't care what you think because I'm not here to prove anything to a jackalope who just called me out of nowhere. I don't have to prove anything to you. I have nothing I'm interested in proving to you.
I could be donating money to you, sir.
Sir, you could be. You also could be scratching your ass in the middle of Michigan Avenue. Neither one will make a difference.
After I'm done.
And nothing will make a difference. So whether you're satisfied with it, whether you feel like it, if the spirit moves you, great. If it doesn't, so what?
You're an entertainer.
Somebody come get they drunk uncles. You need to prove something to me. The only thing I need to prove to you is that you can get off my phone. I need to prove that to you. But brother, I don't care if I could give you money. Dude, that's when you know you're dealing with the old niggas. Well, can you prove this to me? I ain't here to prove a damn thing to you. Are you an entertainer? Some people say I'm entertaining, but why does it matter? Well, are you an entertainer or an activist? I would like to get some documentation. What exactly are your credentials for this? Well, I have some money to give you. Okay, sir, you know what the great thing is about being Jason Black? Ain't no bastard anywhere gonna be able to hold $1 over my head to get me to change what I say. That's the great thing about being me, because I'm not financially struggling, unlike a lot of bum asses out there. I'm not financially struggling, so when some jackass waving his pension check, some clown is waving his pension. I used to work at the airport. I used to be a substitute teacher. I could contribute. Dude, you could contribute. You could contribute or you will carry your ass. Either one, it won't make a difference. He wasn't ready to hear that. Dude, I don't need your money. I don't want it. Why don't you go pay for an IQ? How about that one? Why don't you keep them little $3 in your pocket and pay for an IQ and a personality? He sounded like Carlton Banks. Hello, Jason. I just wanted to find out exactly who you are hearing, and I wanted to get the rundown. Okay, well, I've got a whole list of programs. Well, I'm talking to you. If what you've already seen isn't enough, then talking to me won't. Well, you need to justify to me, dude. The only thing I need to do is justify to your mama that I'm not the daddy. That is literally the only thing I must justify. I can prove that I am not the daddy. As Michael Jackson said, I'm not the one. That's the only thing I gotta justify to you. After that, you can get a little red wagon and carry your ass. Jason, did you say carry his ass? I sure did.
And deal with it, nigga.
You imagine some old, broke, bummy ass nigga calling me up. Can you explain yourself to me? Okay, nigga, and if I don't, then what? Well, what that means is click. I have money. I could contribute. Okay, why don't you just keep that money and shove it up your ass? How about that one? Why don't you take it, put it in an ice cream cone? Personally, my favorite is butter pecan. Put it on the end of a pogo stick and ram it up your colon. How about that one? Boy, y'all, he really thought he was impressing us. He thought he was going to impress us. I could contribute money. See, this is how they get them old niggas. They get them old niggas with that. Well, you know I got a few extra dollars. Ooh. Well, brother, let me explain exactly what it is right there. Like I'm hungry for a dime. No, bruh, that works on your side of town. You called the wrong phone for that. You called the wrong phone for that one. Let's see how hungry he is for $1. Can you believe some old bastard called me up to find out if bands will make me dance? Damn! Did he really call up to find out if bands will make me dance? Jason, I got something for you. What the? Does he think I'm Lil Nas X? Does he think I'm Andrew Gillum? Well, Jason, if you say the right thing, I can send you some money. What the hell kind of messed up ass Halloween havoc pimping is this supposed to be? Y'all, did this nigga really just sit up here and say, if I justify myself to him, he'll throw me a few dollars? Did I really just hear that? Did y'all hear the same thing I heard? Well, Jason, if you justify what you do to me, might be a little something in it for you. Did he really just say that? He really just told me if I explain if you explain to my mind, I can throw a few dollars your way. It's a few dollars in it for you. If somebody don't get Percy Earl's brother off my damn phone. Caller from area code 618, you're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yes, hello?
Yes, you're on live. What is your name? Where you calling from?
All right. It's Mark from Illinois. What's up? It's been a while. I think I'm going with you, Jason.
Okay, sir. What is on your mind?
Yo, hello? Well, the thing I wanted to ask about was the stuff that you were talking about, the Native Americans, about how would it go at it for us to be known as natives here? Like, I already know that a lot of us have native ancestry, but how do we push that along?
Okay, well,
like a lot of our ancestry.
Basically, you'd have to get the federal government to recognize you as a specific group. There's where the real rub of it comes from. So whether there's been historical precedent or whether you can create a new one, but the real thing is for the federal government to recognize us as our own distinct separate group. From there, you can push the other issues and whatnot. Or you can push the other issues, but you're still going to have some kind of recognition. So the whole reason for the push for reparations at the state level is essentially they had to recognize us as a separate group to begin that process, because we want it to be based on lineage. We don't want it to be based on racism. We want it based on lineage. So one way or the other, that's really the route you'd have to take with that.
Okay, yeah, because like I know we already know about the Gullah Geechees. And plus, not only that, there's other tribes that I didn't know that was
here's the issue. Okay, so some folks, I'm getting more than a few of my last folks here who are calling about the same thing. Here's the problem with what you all are saying. The problem with what you all are saying by trying to focus on Gullah Geechee and Seminole or anything else is that would help a very small group. That's the problem.
Okay.
And you don't get big things changed by isolating a few small groups. So even if you could get that done, you're still only helping out a few people there. And the reason why that's important is because they need backup. We need to make sure that other folk have access to that, because if they sit up here and just have just one group, it's a lot easier to turn down one small group. The reason why you have the Houma Indians doing what they're doing today is because of what the larger group, the 5 civilized tribes, did. So the real thing is, if you want the Gullah and anybody else to get something, it's going to go a lot. You need as many of us back in that play as you can, not just one small group trying to figure out, okay, is there a pathway through the federal catacombs to be able to get that for us? Because it's easy to turn down a small group. It's much harder when you have a larger group that's all on the same page. And the Gullah, understand something, the Gullah are covered with us. Do you get that?
Yeah.
The Gullah are, you can cover the Gullah and leave all of us out. You can't cover all of us and leave the Gullah out. There's the difference.
Yeah.
So you push with us. The other reason to push with us is because they're already covered. It's like any clown talking about black and female. Okay, you can be female and black and female and be left out. You got the black thing that covers you. Just that simple.
Okay.
And they will not be able to deny your gullerness. We're going to make sure they recognize your gullerness, but your gullerness is really only relevant to the extent that you're black. So there's the other thing. Being Gullah Geechee doesn't really... Being Gullah Geechee is not special in and of itself, other than this historical aspect, don't get me wrong. But you're not do something because you're Gullah Geechee, you're do something because you're black. If they were white, it wouldn't even be an issue. But then again, they wouldn't have had anything taken from them either.
Yeah. Then plus not only that, when it comes to Gullah Geechee, it's the people I know. It's not in mine, but I was using that as an example because on my grandmother's side, they have Navajo and they have like other tribes that they're actually connected to.
Yeah, and look what they did.
Like when you look up the history.
And look what they did. First thing they started doing here in the last 15 years is kicking the black folk out, not recognizing them. So
yeah, exactly.
I'm just saying, going into these tribal systems and things, I'm just saying, I think that's a little, I can understand why people look at it and say, oh, well, why don't we go ahead and try that thing that those people over there did? And what I'm saying is there is not a predisposition to deny them the way there's a predisposition to deny you. That's the issue.
Yeah. A lot of these tribes, too, are black, too. Like, they're not even red-skinned tribes because there's even some videos of some Native Americans saying that it's not their tribe.
Right. Well, I mean, here's the thing. Here's the thing. You can find that's very deceptive. I know for those of you in the internet age, if you saw it on YouTube, it's written in stone. The problem is when you go to the actual federal government and ask them about these things, the Bureau of Land Management and Office of Indian Affairs and all the rest of them, they're going to tell you, that's why they have a list. That's why they have the Dawes rolls. And that's why they have a list of who is recognized. So they're not arguing that you're not indigenous people. I want y'all to understand the key word is recognized. They're not arguing that you don't have the genetics. They're not arguing the history that you're going to wave in front of their faces. Here's a video. Here's some folks. Here's an artifact. Here's a statue. Here's a hieroglyphs. Here's a painting. Here's the DNA. They're not arguing that that's not true. They're telling you, yeah, but we don't recognize that. So they're not arguing that you didn't bring them proof. They're arguing we do not recognize, that is to say, we do not accept that for anything.
So how do we make them?
And that's what you're in the process of doing now.
Okay.
This is the conversation that's beginning now. Would have been nice if after Special Field Order 15, we kept pushing on it, but then again, we were dodging bullets and lynching and domestic terrorism and every damn thing else. They were literally blowing up black neighborhoods, literally blowing up the whole damn thing. We've been fighting a century-long terroristic asymmetrical war against us. So I can excuse not getting right on the job right after Special Field Order 15. I can excuse that to an extent. But brother, this conversation is really just getting started. Truth be told, when we saw the Native Americans getting their Indian casinos, this conversation should have started really right before that. And certainly as soon as we saw that occurring, and that goes all the way back to the 70s. And we should have been on that then. But then again, they were killing Fred Hampton and some other folk out there and whatnot. So we've been fighting domestic terrorism now for a while. This conversation we're having in earnest, is just now beginning. So just understand that's where we're at. I don't want folks to have any illusions about what it is they're getting just because you can recognize the Gullah Geechee and just because you can say, well, hey, wouldn't they count as an indigenous? I want you to understand what you're really up against. You're not up against math. You're up against white supremacy. And as far as they're concerned, you're up here screaming at the top of your lungs, 2 + 2 is 4. And they're saying 2 + 2 is 5. I'm white and I say so. Well, the Gullah Geechee, well, yeah, I understand. You're saying they qualify for all the metrics that we require. We don't recognize them. Yeah. We heard what you said. We saw that. Oh, well, everything you're saying is certainly true. We don't recognize that. Now you have a different issue. Not that they don't hear you, not that they don't see you. They're saying, yeah, we see all that, but we don't recognize yours. Now the question becomes, what do you do with that? What do you say about that? How do you vote with that? How do you move politically? How do you move socially? How do you move economically? Do you allow your kids to be dunderheads? Do you allow the whole thing I talked about during the whole broadcast here, brother. Do you allow your local attorneys to sit up here and be ambulance chasers as opposed to advocates for the people? Do you sit up here and allow the Sheila Jackson Lees to ignore your issues? The Native Americans in Houma can get a Republican congressman to put in a bill to recognize them. Sheila Jackson Lee is not suggesting a bill to recognize us and just got reelected. So you say, what do we do about that? Start there. Start there. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get a call from area code 908. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
My name is Ishmael.
All right, call me Ishmael. Where are you calling from?
Yeah, from Moby Dick and Abraham's first son. I'm from Montgomery, Alabama.
All right, Ishmael, what's on your mind?
I just moved here from Jersey, and I find it very different but very comfortable. I bought me a home here, and I'm retired and disabled. And I appreciate you, brother, for what you do and what you speak about and how you enlighten us as black folk in this country, because we're behind the eight ball here. But my main concern and question was about boycotting. We're already doing the voting thing and sitting out and couching, and the two candidates are bullshit. But, I'm just saying, man, what do you think about boycotting stuff and having like a green book kind of concept for us to follow, somebody trying to incorporate that into the black community?
Okay, well, I've covered this many times on the program about boycotting and why boycotting, certainly in a modern context, does not work. Folks really call back to things like Alabama. They call back to things like Selma. I certainly understand that, but remember that was a different dynamic you were dealing with there. In the modern day, that wouldn't work. Even if you did shut down the municipal bus, line, in the modern context, that wouldn't work. The other problem is, the one I've always raised here, is that we're only 0.5% of the nation's economy. Hell, you lost 3 times that when COVID hit. So socioeconomically, we are insignificant. Now, what we are is a swing vote and pivotal to be able to be an economic foundation. It's certainly been true for the Arabs. It's certainly been true for the Asians. It's certainly been true for white folk when they come into our neighborhoods, or when they go in our neighborhoods, rather. So the real thing is, rather than boycotting, we should be focused on investing. That's a far more powerful thing to do. Taking our dollars away from Walmart is not going to hurt Walmart. They might close a few stores, but you're not going to bring them to their knees. Taking your dollars away from Macy's isn't going to hurt Macy's. They're getting ready to close down 150 stores. No boycott from us required. Taking your money away from the Ford Corporation, well, that certainly will be a problem in some regards, don't get us wrong. But it's not going to bring them to their knees. So I understand the methodology and the idea around it. Maybe there are some peripherally fragile industries in some very specific geographic areas. When you talk about, the bus boycott and whatnot back then, they chose that for a reason. It was something that was particular. Well, they chose that for a reason.
I'm not a young.
It was particularly vulnerable. I can tell you old as hell. That's okay. No problem. But what I'm saying is that was particularly vulnerable. The bus boycott was particularly vulnerable, which is why they chose it. Now, truth be told, well, let's slow down one more thing. Truth be told, by the way, I don't want to throw cold water on these things. But by the way, for everybody who knows their history, it wasn't just the boycott alone that changed that. So if we actually take the history into account, I hate to throw cold water on it, but by the way, it wasn't just boycotting alone that changed that situation. If we can just be totally honest. Even if it were, you're talking about one industry in one small area that was particularly vulnerable. That wouldn't work even at the time, that wouldn't work in New York. It wouldn't work in Chicago. It wouldn't work in LA at the time. Same time period, but it only would have worked in that one area. So the real thing is, okay, how do you have a strategy that can be utilized everywhere? Investing can be utilized everywhere. Please remember, when we boycotted the buses, they said, okay, you can ride the bus. When we started Black Wall Streets, they blew it up. Keep that in mind.
Okay, I understand. I'm trying to be quiet while you talk because you cut me off because I was talking while you were. But I was just trying to say that. All right, so we got the voting thing going on, right? We got the sit-out couch thing, and got two candidates that are bigots that are up there they're doing nothing for our black folk. And then, okay, so we got one with the no voting thing and not participating. And then if we get to boycotting in certain areas, but you're trying to say that our black money is not valuable to this country, and they say that our vote is. But they need our money. Don't we contribute a lot of billions of dollars to this country spending money?
Okay, well, sir, no. The black economy in America is statistically insignificant. Now, It is not insignificant at a micro level, but at a macro level, it's statistically insignificant. Please remember, I'll say again, we are only 1/2 of 1% of the economy, sir. When the country shut down during COVID, you lost 3 to 5 points out of that, 5% whole percentage points out of that economy. So I'm just saying we lost the equivalent of the black economy 8-10 times over.
I understand, but okay, I comprehend. I've taken economics in my college courses, and I understand what you're saying. But what I don't understand is that if they are pressuring us and coming after us for the vote, and our vote is so prominent for the Democrats, if we sit out and then we don't spend the money, I'm not talking about economy on a total, but it could be a factor, don't you think, in some kind of way?
Well, that's what I said before. That's what I said before, sir. The strategy shouldn't be. The strategy should not be boycotting. The strategy should be investing. We shouldn't worry about where we don't spend our money. We should focus much more on where we do spend it. That is the great misnomer that older generations got deceived by. They were deceived by the idea that other people are quote unquote boycotting us. Truth be told, Asians are not boycotting black folk. They're prioritizing doing business with Asians, white folk, Latinos. So yeah, in effect, it becomes a boycott because yes, there is a racial component to it. Don't be fooled. But the truth of the matter is they make a priority of doing business with each other in that regard, investing in each other in that regard. Our strategy should be boycott the politics unless the politician has a black agenda of some kind. So as far as boycotting politically, yeah, that's the way to go. As far as financially, the goal should be investing, not boycotting. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Caller from area code 917. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling out of Yonkers, New York. My name is Daryl.
All right, Daryl out of Yonkers. What's on your mind?
I got two questions. One is, if all the politicians, meaning the black politicians, was on coal, would you think that the reparations will be pushed to a better level, if I'm using that right word?
Well, yeah, I mean, absolutely. If your Congressional Black Caucus were on code, I've been talking about that now for months. If the Congressional Black Caucus simply said, okay, here's the reparations agenda, puts it in front of the Democrats, and then the Democrats sit up here and don't vote it or don't support it. Then the Congressional Black Caucus say, you know what? We're so glad y'all didn't do that. The next bill you all bring up, we're not going to vote in favor of it. We're going to sit on our hands. And we're going to keep and let the Republicans push through whatever they want. And we'll keep doing this until our Democratic caucus starts taking this seriously. But if you're going to ignore the agenda and the bill we brought you, meanwhile, you talking about illegals and LGBT and everything else, but you're going to ignore ours, then when you bring yours, we're going to ignore yours. Now, if we had true representation that was on code, yeah, that's what would happen.
Will you see that happening?
No, that's the reason we're not supporting any of them. No.
Absolutely. And my other question is, well, it's not like a question. I'm getting flack from my family members right now because I was just basically pointing stuff out to them when it comes to like basic stuff. When it comes to like, let me give you an example. I was talking to my nephew and we was, building on each other. And I was mentioning certain things about history and stuff. And he shot me with, it's black people's problems that's why things happen to them. I said, what about, white power? Oh, it's not their fault, it's black people's fault. And what is that right there, Jason Black?
Okay, well, first of all, did you say you were doing what with your cousin?
It was my nephew. We was talking about history.
Okay, because for a moment there, I thought you said we was filling him up. Okay, just I didn't understand what's going on there.
No, hey, watch it now, young man. Watch it.
I'm about to say, did I hear that wrong? I was about to say, wait a minute, what did I just hear? Because that's what I was about to say. Oh, he called the wrong broadcast. This is the wrong broadcast.
No.
Okay.
We was just basically building about history and stuff like that. And he mentioned the fact is, it's black people's fault that stuff happened to us the way it did. And I'm like, what do you mean by that? He couldn't even explain it.
Yeah, and that's the point. As soon as you ask, okay, what do you mean by that? And then you just hear something really weird happen there. So the coon side of your family has been indoctrinating the youth or whatever. I'm not sure how old your nephew is. Hopefully, how old is your nephew?
My nephew is around like 42.
Wow. Okay, how old are you, bro?
Shocking. I'm 58.
I'm about to say, you sound young, dude. I didn't even see that coming. You sound young your damn self.
Young man,
okay.
I appreciate that.
I'm about to say, that's why that sentence you said, I was like, okay, what family we got calling in? But no, here's my point about that, though. Yeah. Basically, like I say, look, where does he live at? Does he live there where you are?
No, he travels throughout the country. He'd be on trucks and stuff like that. He deliver trucks. I'm in the West area.
Well, but where does he live?
But we talk frequently.
Yeah, but where does he live, though?
Oh, he's in the Jersey area.
Okay, but he lives in Jersey.
Yes.
Okay, well, does he have a white girlfriend?
No, he got a black girlfriend.
Is that the only black girlfriend?
And he's not speaking, and not to cut you off, he's literally not speaking to me. He hung the phone up on me when I was chopping his head off, like, what you're saying is wrong. And he literally caught an attitude.
Yeah, like I say, I don't know if it's that he's he's trying to gear up for a walk in the wild side, or he wishes he was. I don't know if he went to private school or magnet school or something like that right there. But
none of that.
Generally, when
he went to Virginia Tech.
Well, generally when that happens,
he went to college.
You're dealing with an individual who's been disaffected. Look it up. You're dealing with an individual who has been separated off and they haven't had the same experiences. So they're trying to take the easy way out. You're probably dealing with a person who's not very confrontational. So when white folk do racist things to him, he comes up, he does the Tim Scott thing. He starts rationalizing why it's okay, or worse, they're not racist, they're just ignorant. So, I don't know if you grew up with an Xbox controller in one hand and a manga collection in the other. I don't know which one that might have been, but definitely, like I say, if he's got proclivities where he's gearing up for something or thinks he's gearing up for something, and he thinks that's more important, when you hear a black person who's should know better, but they start rationalizing those things away. I start looking at their childhood. I start looking at their teenage years. Did they get along with other black kids, or do they consider themselves to be?
He grew up in the hood, Jason.
Well,
he grew
yeah,
up in the hood.
But that doesn't mean that he got along with them. Because if he didn't, or if he's resentful of it, once he gets grown, he starts talking like one of these niggas. Y'all all need to just pull your hands up. Remember, every coon isn't a Carlton Banks. Plenty of coons are an Uncle Ruckus. Every coon isn't sitting there emulating the vocal inflections of Tucker Carlson. You got a bunch of coons out there be coming up hitting you just like Cat Williams. Only they coming from the coon side. So don't be deceived about that. Just because he was born in the hood. Yeah, the hood makes coons too.
Right. But I told one more thing. I said, when they smack you in your face, don't come running crying to me. I don't want to hear nothing. I told him, when that white supremacy come and smack you in your face, I don't want to hear nothing.
You won't hear anything.
Jinxing me. No, I'm not just.
No, you won't hear anything. He's not going to tell you. Understand, when you made that comment about, but Jason, who's raised in the hood, okay, but the question is, does he see himself as a member of that community, or is he resentful of it and wishes to distance himself? He's telling himself he's better than they are. Because let's be very, very clear.
Wow.
I come from the same environment too.
I didn't look at it from that point.
Well, look, I'm from Shreveport, Louisiana. You can definitely hear the way I talk. I don't think anybody is going to confuse me with, the hardest gang member from Los Angeles at all. But by the same token, I don't consider myself to be separate from the places I've been born, went to school, experienced. I don't consider myself to be separate from that. I consider myself to be a part of that. I'm not resentful of it. I'm not holding it against folks. So the what about black on black crime thing doesn't work on me. Because because I've got a great counter argument, which I do, but because I'm not trying to distance myself. Your nephew sounds like he's trying to distance himself. So you're invoking that he had that experience, but what I'm telling you is, I wonder if that experience changed him for the worse. And now he's going to, quote, punish them by divorcing himself. So when you talk to him about black folk, well, it's really their fault that they are in that situation. And if they would do things different, then they would be all right. Okay, well, that means something.
I sent them a couple of your clips.
No, he's not going to like that.
No feedback.
Yeah, that's gonna go over like a cinder block in a balloon. But go ahead.
Right. One more thing, and I told him, I said, I come to understand you're comfortable listening to them other groups instead of your own group. You don't embrace your own group. You're comfortable listening to them other groups, and I sent him over the moon right there. He hung up.
Well, because he knows it's true. I mean, this is because you're saying reality, but that doesn't mean it's going to be well accepted. So at this point right here, just understand, the only thing that's going to happen to him is life. Life is going to have to happen. Hopefully it's not a fatal event, because he sounds like the kind of dude who would go off into the damn woods with Bubba and Billy at 2 a.m, so they can go pheasant hunting while they got a 55-gallon drum filled with diesel fuel, and he's blissfully oblivious
I don't think he's
going
to do that.
Brother, don't put it beyond him. Don't put it beyond him. I didn't say I want him to get in the truck, but I'm just saying, by the way, don't put it past him. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Don't put it past him when they start talking like this and they start racism denying and victim blaming. That really y'all fault over there right there. If y'all would just do things different, it's really y'all fault. Y'all need to quit. How about that racism? How about that white supremacy? It's really your fault you do that. All right, you see that happen. All right. When you see that kind of thing there happen, just understand. Just understand. That's the kind of way that happens. Just because somebody was raised in the hood does not mean they're not a coon, man. It does. As a matter of fact, if they're raised and they are resentful of the environment, then They start acting different. They start acting different. Even if they didn't go to a private school or a magnet school, though those tend to be the major things I look at. When that happens, that can be difficult. That can be difficult. Y'all, some of your family members there, you're going to have to distance yourself, man. It can be a difficult thing, but just understand some of your family members are lost causes. Some of your family members are lost causes. They'll be sitting here talking to you all kinds of crazy. Ain't no racism, ain't no white supremacy. I'm voting for Trump. Okay. Just look, when your family members sit up here and talk crazy, it's just like, okay, because what's bothering you is he's basically telling you the sky isn't blue. The sky's not blue. The sky is purple with orange polka dots. And it's just like, dude, have you looked up today? Do you see anything in the sky that looks either purple or orange? The problem is you ain't looking hard enough. That's what you do. So it'll drive you crazy trying to rationalize with somebody who's being irrational. Denying racism is irrational. Even the white supremacists don't deny racism. They just pretend to because they're like, yeah, we just want to waste your time. But nobody's denying that. If they're doing that, it's like, okay, he understands what he's doing. So just understand, let him take his lumps. I certainly hope he doesn't go off in that Dodge Ram pickup truck at 2 a.m. with Bubba and Billy Ray and Bobby White and the rest of them whatnot with a 55-gallon drum filled with diesel fuel and ammonia. We going on the weekend hunting trip. Hey, Uncle, we going on a weekend hunting trip. I told you, white folks good. Okay. I certainly hope he doesn't go out there, but by the way, we done had plenty of them who have, right? We have plenty of them who did. And that didn't stop him. I want to go ahead and take a moment here to thank King Music. Thank you very much for your support. We appreciate that. Big shout out here to J Ham. Super big shout out here to my man Victor. Thank you very much for your support here. And if you are new here to the Black Channel, welcome to the Haven of Intelligent Black Thought. We do this every weekend. Click that red subscribe button. Click that yellow notification bell. Join us each and every time that we are here. If you haven't been to our website, blackchannelfilms.com, you want to go and check out our groundbreaking best-selling documentary work, 7 a.m., Gentrified, Race War, soon to be added to that collection, 8 a.m., all available on DVD and streaming. Go to blackchannelfilms.com. That is blackchannelfilms.com. Also, if you haven't yet, check out our crowdfunding. The link is in the description. 8 a.m. is underway. I expect to see all of you be a part of that. Put your name on history. Period. Point blank. Bar none. End of discussion. I want to thank all of you for tuning in to tonight's program. Thank you for watching live or recorded. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and sharing. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, Black is the future, and the future is